Tonight on an all-new 2020.
The saga of Mike and Dahlia DiPolito was so outrageous, so unbelievable.
Their relationship was like a powder keg. Those two had such sexual attraction.
The reality show Cops is there waiting to capture every second.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
Can you imagine you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I can't listen to him, ma'am.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not. I'm in intensive therapy now, just trying to cope with everything that's happened because it's hard.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
Sure you want to kill him, dude?
And that's when Dahlia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure, like.
Okay.
With evidence like that, what seems like evidence, how did she end up going to trial not once, not twice?
I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll bring you Starbucks on the way home.
In the middle of her workout, Dahlia receives a phone call from the Boynton Beach Police.
Sorry, I just missed your call. Please leave this message, and I'll return your call as soon as I can.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department Detective Division. I need you to call me as soon as you can, ma'am.
A few seconds after missing the call, she calls the number, and it's the Boynton Beach Police asking her to come home.
Okay, can you come right back to your residence, please?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Is it okay?
Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
There were cameras everywhere, including from the hit TV show Cops.
She goes rushing up, looking very confused. You see her in her black leggings, her tight spaghetti strap tank top.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired.
Once she arrived, that's when she was told that her husband was killed.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
And that's when she falls into his arms, wailing. She is screaming, she's saying, no, 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 no.
Try to calm down. Listen, right now we need to get you.
From the perspective of neighbors, they see this nice young couple, and next thing they know, something horrible has happened there. And they're all wondering, who would want to kill Mike DiPolito? Is it random? Is it somebody that could have come into my house?
My name is Jillian Jalali, and I have a podcast called Court Junkie. This case has it all as far as true crime is concerned.
Mike and Dahlia seemed to be a perfect match. It was truly a fairy tale.
Dahlia's father was Egyptian and her mother was Peruvian.
She was born Dahlia Muhammad.
Dahlia comes from a religious family, very close-knit family.
And when she was 13 years old, her family moved to Boynton Beach, Florida, where she essentially grew up.
Boynton Beach is located in Palm Beach County. Well, that's a pretty glitzy county in Florida.
When people think of Palm Beach County, they often think of Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives. He has that resort there. Boynton Beach, 15 miles away, is a typical American suburb.
It's sort of a middle class, more of a blue-collar community.
Dahlia lived in a gated community. She lived there with her mother. Some describe her as beautiful. She's certainly attractive, especially when she's got her hair and makeup done.
I first met Dahlia DiPolito back in 2015.
Has your story been told yet, truthfully?
No, it hasn't.
How would you describe your personality?
Really bubbly, very friendly, really social.
What types of values were you raised with? What was important in your family?
We were constantly doing family activities, family vacations, and a lot of family dinners, big Sunday dinners.
What were your hopes for her?
To grow up, be married, be happy, and have kids.
Dahlia grows up and she becomes supposedly a real estate agent.
But the problem is, that actually takes a lot of really hard work, and she's much more into the quick buck.
I think she was a woman who early on decided there were certain things in life she wanted, and she was going to use her sexuality to get them.
Money. She wants money.
Some people might call Dahlia gold digger, and if she could see maybe a fast buck in someone, she was gonna go for it.
Enter Mike DiPolito. He says that when he met Dahlia, she was working as a paid escort.
He meets her on a website called eros.com. He was ordering an escort to keep him company over the weekend. He ordered her like a pizza.
Mike DiPolito is an interesting guy. Just like Dahlia, he wants a lavish lifestyle. He yearns for the finer things in life.
Michael DiPolito was a muscular guy. He worked out, and he liked the high life, too.
What was your initial impression of Mike DiPolito?
Charming.
What drew you to him?
His personality. He was really, really engaging, and it felt a really strong connection.
So, Mike DiPolito is a very likable guy. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
And he just seemed sort of like a guy you'd see at the gym, maybe not too bright, but working hard and trying to have a fun life.
Mike describes his first meeting with Dahlia, that she was sweet, almost naive.
Give me some insight into what it was like when you first met.
We got into outdoor activities and stuff, and we got bikes, and we started biking together.
What do you think Michael saw in you?
My personality, who I was, my sense of humor. We talked about all kinds of things. We watched the news together. We were big movie people. We both love Starbucks, coffee drinkers.
Mike had a very difficult upbringing, and I think he really yearned to feel loved and to feel safe and taken care of. He had this void that needed to be filled, and she made him feel like he had never felt before. But the problem that Mike had was that he was married at the time.
They start an affair, a hot and heavy and steamy affair.
He said the sex was unbelievable.
Did you have any scruples about getting involved with a man who was still married?
No, I was told that he was going through the divorce proceedings, and he had actually sent me papers showing that he was going through the divorce process.
Not only did Mike DiPolito have a wife, he also had a checkered past.
Well, long before he met Dahlia, he'd gone to prison for running a boiler room stock operation.
He was conning old people over the phone.
They would call people up and they would sell them these penny stocks, convince them that these were going to become stocks that were going to be worth a lot of money, but in actually were just scams.
Basically like the movie The Boiler Room.
Listen, I'm presenting you with an investment opportunity that I think you're gonna find very interesting.
Where he's cold calling people and trying to get them to invest in foreign currency.
He was ripping people off.
Along the way, he was definitely making enemies.
Mike pled guilty to organized scheme to defraud, unlicensed telemarketing, and grand theft. And he served a total of 2 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 28 years probation.
They're in love, they are determined to leave their past behind. So this ex-con and his former escort are in this whirlwind romance, and 6 months later, they're married.
The way that it happened, it was just so impulsive, and it felt right.
You went down to the county courthouse?
The courthouse the same day, applied for the license. It took a couple of days to, for it to legally be official and everything.
This was a shock to Dahlia's mother, Rhonda Muhammad.
And she showed me her ring. I was like, wow, you got engaged? And she says, no, we got married.
And you thought what?
I wasn't happy at all, but it was time.
If you look at the pictures of them, she has this beautiful smile, he's grinning, they're embracing each other. It looks like true love.
From an outsider looking in, they're the happiest couple.
And that brings us back to that hot August morning in 2009. Mike DiPolito is dead. He has apparently been murdered in his house. And the big question is, why? Who would want to do this?
Police can't help but wonder if this grieving widow is actually keeping a deadly secret.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband?
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. It's very urgent when you come home. It involves your husband. There's been an incident.
Can you imagine you got your whole life ahead of you and you're in love and you're planning everything, and then you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I don't wish this on anybody. It's just beyond, you know, words. It's so hard to be able to just fully express.
Your husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
The condo is surrounded by police cars. The street was mobbed with detectives, crime scene technicians.
I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job. You want to find his killer, okay?
She says, I want to see my husband, and the police say, no, you can't.
If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to.
And they put her into the police car, and now she's being whisked away to the police station. So they take her to the interrogation room. She's sitting in there.
I'll explain to you what we're going to do, okay?
They turn the camera on once Dahlia steps into the room to watch her demeanor and to see how she was behaving.
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
And still expressing grief and sorrow and disbelief.
I love my husband. We love you too.
No, you don't want to see him.
The police are treating her like a grieving widow. They're doing their investigation into who would want to kill her husband.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
He's for stock fraud.
Stock fraud?
And in fact, she tries to steer the investigation to the victims that Mike had previously scammed money from.
Did he spend any time in prison? How much?
2 years in prison and 5 years on probation, going on to 6 years.
Oh my God. And what was that for?
It was for taking money. It was like, he explained it like boiler room kind of, where they would take money from people.
She tells them that he had been in prison before for fraud, that he was on probation, and that he still owed restitution, almost $200,000 to several victims.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation because it's a lot of money he's got to pay back.
She tells them that Mike was just about to get off on probation early, and the people that he had scammed money from were very angry and upset about this.
Well, when you say people, who are you talking about? People that were involved with him before, or?
A little bit of everything. He's constantly running into a lot of the guys that he was on probation with. It was a lot of money. It was $191,000 that he had to pay back.
He's got all these sketchy characters from his past. Yeah, they're the ones.
I guess somehow when he went away, some guys didn't go away. They left the country.
You mean went away, he went to prison?
Right.
Okay.
They left the country. And so somehow he was dealing with some of those guys because they thought that he owed them, and I don't know.
She gave very vague details about, you know, maybe people that could have been angry with him. She didn't provide law enforcement with much information at all.
That's why I'm asking. If you know any names, then we can run these guys down and see what they know.
I don't know if the one guy that I'm telling you about, Pasquale, if he also went away or if he didn't.
She starts to kind of give names and tell them that there are possibilities of people that maybe had wanted to see Mike dead.
Is it Pasquale or Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Then Dahlia starts spilling some of Mike's other secrets, like his substance abuse issues.
He's recovering alcoholic.
Dahlia tells detectives that her husband Mike struggled with demons, alcohol and drugs.
And so with him, it's very important to be like on a schedule and, you know what I mean, like have a system and very organized with everything.
Get up every day, go to the gym, go to Starbucks. He would go to AA meetings. He felt was so important to keep regimented. He did that to make sure that he stayed sober.
And in fact, Mike would have otherwise been at the gym with Dahlia, except he was recovering from liposuction surgery.
We were supposed to go to the gym.
Oh, both of you were supposed to go?
He had like 2 leg handles removed from here.
And so he was laid up. He couldn't exercise, he couldn't go to the gym.
We haven't gone since his surgery, but every morning, 5 a.m., we're both at the gym.
You're lucky.
What?
You're lucky you went to the gym. I don't know if you know, he was shot. He was shot twice. And I want you to know all this.
Do you know this?
Not exactly. I mean, they told me he was shot.
He was found in the bedroom. They shot twice in the head.
She brought up every negative detail of his life in those moments after she learned that he had been killed.
Well, you know, he's very, he used to be a drug addict, and...
What was his drug of choice?
Crack.
Crack? I'm going to be back. What I want to do is call right now. I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized.
Okay.
All right, just hang on for a second.
Thank you.
So when the police exit and Dahlia was still being videotaped, as they leave the room, she starts crying.
A few moments later, the detective comes back in and he has one more question.
There's no problems between you guys, no financial problems, with your family, you and him.
No, there's nothing.
In that police interview, Dahlia paints a rather rosy picture of their relationship. No problems, no drama.
But what everyone would soon learn is there actually was trouble in paradise.
Everything seems great. At least that's what Michael thought.
What he didn't know is that Dahlia Dippolito had another man in her life.
As Dahlia Dippolito sits in that interrogation room, there is still a lot that investigators don't know about her.
She uses men to give her money or to get into their lives so then she could then extract their money from them.
She knew how to use her sex appeal, and she had a lot of it, to get her way. And that's what she did very successfully with men, including Mike Dippolito.
She wanted Mike's house. She wanted all of his money.
She decided, hey, I got to figure out a way to get his stuff. She had several men wrapped around her fingers.
One of those men was a Florida businessman, Mohammed Shihada.
He was a 32-year-old Jordanian national. He was a quasi-actor.
In fact, if you go to the site for Mohammed's talent agency, his online portfolio is still there.
He really enjoyed playing poker and gambling in Las Vegas.
How did you know Mohammed?
I met him a long time ago. He had a convenience store business, and I had actually walked into his store. And that's where we struck up conversation, and we both had Middle Eastern background, and so we just ended up developing a friendship.
And you stayed in touch for how many years?
Throughout the course of maybe like 15 years.
So you considered him a close personal friend?
Considered him a friend. I wouldn't say close.
They began a flirtation, which was very heavily sexually charged. When she needed something, they would rekindle that old flame, so to speak. If she needed to vent about a guy she was dating or a relationship that she was in, she would talk to him. So in July of 2009, after Dahlia was married to Mike, she reached out to Mohammed once again, as she had done over time. She starts a narrative with him about Michael Dippolito.
Dahlia told Mohammed that she was physically abused, that he was controlling, and she just needed out of the marriage.
Were there any stresses on the marriage?
We got into little arguments and things, but it wasn't anything major.
But Dahlia tells Muhammad that her husband is abusive, emotionally abusive, so much so that a regular divorce isn't going to cut it. So she wants Mike out of her life for good and turns to Muhammad for help.
She wants for a more permanent solution to her problems.
Dahlia confides in Muhammad that she wants Mike DiPolito killed. They meet at a gas station in Boynton Beach. Dahlia tells Muhammad that she's desperate, that she needs to have Mike killed.
It's a common thread throughout these types of cases. Beautiful women, and they also often involve allegations of abuse.
Muhammad is really nervous that if Mike DiPolito is killed, that law enforcement would come back to him, and he didn't want that to happen, and he didn't want Mike to be killed.
Muhammad Shahadi is actually the person that called police and said that Dahlia DiPolito was planning to murder her husband.
We had a gentleman come into the police department advising they had some information in reference to a young lady that wanted her husband killed.
They captured this first conversation that they had with Muhammad on a tape recorder.
Okay, tell us what happened. She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but she can't stand him.
So at first, we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives? No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl, really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her? Yes.
So after that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're gonna need to talk to Muhammad again.
What cops want Muhammad to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Muhammad morphs into a confidential informant.
We have the informant contact the suspect by phone and set up a meeting so we can ID her. The mobile gas station was one of those places where they've met before in the past, so we decided to make that the location.
All right, you good to go? Yeah, I'm good to go. All right, good.
So police outfit Muhammad's car with some cameras, and they put a wire on him.
Hey, what's up?
And a few seconds later, she begins talking about getting her husband killed.
There's no small talk. Muhammad and Dahlia launch right into a secretly recorded conversation detailing Dahlia's murderous intentions.
At first, it seems like her motive might be Mike's money.
Honestly, you're worried seriously about killing over that much money?
It's not even over money. Like, it's not even about money.
Dahlia has no idea that every word coming out of her mouth is being caught on camera.
Okay, well, I'm trying to say is this guy's a professional. It's not all he does is get it done, that's it. It's
right.
This is where he actually says he was going to introduce her to a hitman.
I know him, you know, like, he's good at it.
We realized that this guy was credible.
But now, how am I supposed to know what day he's going to do it?
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
He might tell you, oh, it's like to get out of town or something for a day.
I'm not going out of town.
You even hear during the conversation her talk about no one would ever believe that she could be capable of murder.
His mom is not going to get suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that?
me? You know, knowing somebody, you know, nobody's going to be able to point a finger at me.
She ended up bringing $1,200 in cash. She believed that that money was going to be given to the hitman to buy a gun.
Yeah,
All right, I'll try.
She also bought 2 pictures.
I have a picture of him right now. You're sure everything else is okay?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yo, what more sure can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop, yo.
She's made a down payment on death.
And now Dahlia DiPolito is about to come face to face with the assassin.
But little does she know, she is walking into a trap.
after Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia DiPolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face-to-face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Witty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parking this exact spot right here. We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car, and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Witty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention and my eyes. The way she was dressed, pretty much, I'm like, okay, she wants to show off her body. So, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you look good. Hey, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
How soon can we get everything going?
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, it is on like 15.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're gonna make it happen, you have to make it happen this week.
I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far.
We talked about money, how much money she's gonna pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200.
$1,200 went to buy my heat, my gun, okay? And a couple hundred, for other people to do things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I had to explain to her, $1,200 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
I'm trying to tell her, look, however, which way you want it done, I'll do it.
So I just want to make sure that, this is what you want. Sure you want to kill this dude.
When she's meeting with the hitman, he's telling her, look, there is no turning back. When I leave you today, you have no way to reach me.
I explained to Dalia that after today, she wouldn't be able to find me to cancel this whole plan that we put together.
When it's done, you have to have an option to change your mind.
And that's when Dalia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like,
okay.
No, there's no, I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Her line is classic. I am like 5,000% sure, right? So it's, she is so committed to this.
Like 5,000% sure.
I didn't think she was going to be that open. I'm 5,000% sure. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
She told me she may look like an innocent little girl, but she's a whole lot tougher than she looks. The most surprising thing about my meeting with Dalia was how adamant she was in making sure that this was done.
All right, well, good morning, Brooklyn. By the time you get back from the gym, you're going to find a dead body in the house. All right?
As the Boynton Beach Police Department are preparing for their starring role in this true crime drama, Cops television show are like flies on the wall, recording every bit of it.
Our police officers, our detectives, our professional staff, they every day are doing things in our community to keep people safe and to save lives. And for us, it was a great way to showcase that and to let the community and the larger community know what these heroes are doing every day.
Now, the Boynton Beach police say that show had been interested in their department for several months. And arguably, their cameras never captured a scene quite like this one. They are about to hit the jackpot.
Everybody knows why we're here. Chachi, you and Brian will go with me. Frank or somebody will call the wife.
Just like the undercover instructed her to leave the house, she did.
She grabs a smoothie, and she grabs her purse, and she says, bye, Mike, and she goes off to the gym.
Dalia is at the local LA Fitness, but back at her condo, police are there setting up an elaborate trap.
That looks good. I like it.
We've had set up a fake crime scene around the house, yellow tape around the streets, around the house. We make it look like her husband had gotten killed inside the house.
At 6:21 a.m., as Dahlia DiPolito was working out, that's when she misses that call from the sergeant at the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Sergeant Ramsey, can I help you? Is this Miss DiPolito, please?
He intentionally pronounces her name wrong to throw her off.
Once he got her on the phone, told her that something had happened and we needed her to come to the house.
They needed to break some news to her.
No, ma'am, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
As Dahlia approaches, she sees what's really a crime scene. She sees police, tape blocked off.
So the condo is surrounded by police cars. There's a crime scene van, there's crime scene tape, her apartment's roped off with the tape.
The front door to the townhouse is wide open with black fingerprint dust everywhere.
Dahlia arrives from LA Fitness from going to the gym.
And she rushes up. Dahlia DiPolito doesn't know she's being set up right now.
A really buff police sergeant tells her, your husband has been murdered.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Before the words are even out of his mouth, she starts crying.
And he even hugs her, and she figures she's got them wrapped around her finger just like all these other men. And little does she know, her world is about to come crashing down.
I tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Going into his arms.
She's wailing.
As I watch her breakdown as she starts to cry before the word killed is even said, this was the role that she had practiced.
And the play acting continues when they get Dahlia into that interrogation room. Everyone was in character that morning, including the undercover police officer, Woody Jean, who suddenly appears in the interrogation room to make a cameo appearance of his own.
You know who this guy is?
And tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
Dahlia's acting, and the police are acting. As she's brought to the police station, everyone involved is faking it.
They think they have the goods to charge Dahlia DiPolito, but the police still want to see if they can make her crack. They're going to give her every opportunity to own up to what they suspect she did.
You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand that?
She absolutely thinks that she has everybody fooled.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
He wouldn't open the door unless it's somebody that he knows.
Well, then
We don't open for anybody.
She believes that she's going to be able to convince law enforcement that she truly loved Mike and that she had nothing to do with his murder.
When the police asked Dahlia if she wanted her husband killed by any chance, she denied it, completely denied it. No.
You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
We are fine, like there's nothing.
Dahlia DiPolito is pretending she knew nothing about this, and the police are pretending like her husband is actually dead.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you want any harm to befall him? Never.
No, never.
Suddenly, the tide begins to turn, and the police get tough with Dahlia.
They've had enough with her charade and with her lies.
Police are thinking that by ushering in that would-be hitman, the man that she paid to murder her husband, surely that will get her to come clean.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen him.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Get him out of here.
Inside, I was kind of laughing because I knew that I spent a good 25 minutes talking to her, and hearing her saying that she's never met me was pretty shocking.
She denies ever meeting him, and she doesn't know who he is.
And then the detective all of a sudden goes from being the grandfatherly figure that he had been into more of a aggressive.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't.
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in his car in the front of CVS. What do you want to do?
I don't think for a second that she thought that investigators in the interrogation room were going to turn on her.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Can you talk about that moment when you realized the tables were turned?
I panicked. I was just completely frozen, and I couldn't move. I couldn't really process and digest everything that was going on.
Shockingly, the Boynton Beach Police Department media director posted the video of the staged crime scene.
The Boynton Beach Police uploaded the video the same day.
This was our way of getting video to our local media. We uploaded the video just as we did dozens of other videos.
We see this stunning video of this takedown, this woman crying and wailing. We'd never seen anything like it.
It's always a risky move for the authorities to release any information during an investigation. But Florida is one of the most open states in the country when it comes to sharing information with the public.
In a matter of hours, we were getting phone calls from national and international media.
I need you to take her to the station.
I thought it was going to be a very hot story. There's the jilted husband, there's money, there's video.
If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband.
We were stunned. We were delighted.
When law enforcement confronts her with all of the evidence that she wants Mike DiPolito dead, Dahlia denies that.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to
I
jail.
didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
She's sticking to her script. She's crying.
And with the spotlight on Dahlia, the grand finale is about to unfold.
So finally they say, guess what? He's alive.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here, please. Come here.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dahlia DiPolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
What was that? I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
It wasn't like, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, just blow the guy's brains out and, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
I see somebody who's struggling.
What? How is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
The whole crime's caught on tape. I mean, what do you do with that?
It was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
Liar, liar, liar.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community. This was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars.
The thing about reality TV is that anybody can do it. Anybody can become famous.
I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old convicted felon could be on. They wanted to post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
Even now, 11 years after the story first broke, the twists keep coming in the Dahlia DiPolito story.
On August 5th, 2009, Dahlia DiPolito's life changed forever.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you.
First, police tell her her husband is dead.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed.
Then she's told she's been caught on tape planning his murder.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Tell me you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today.
You kept saying, I didn't do anything. Just over and over and over again. Was that all you could think of to say?
They were accusing me of trying to have my husband killed, and I didn't. So that's what I kept continuously telling them.
When they turn the table, she doesn't fess up. She just keeps denying everything. And lacking that confession, they kept trying to shock her more and more.
And this is the part where what happens in that police department will go down in the history of detective work. This is a masterstroke.
The ultimate shock, you could call it a resurrection of sorts. Police tell her that her dead husband isn't actually dead.
Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Can I see
No,
him,
he doesn't
please?
want to see you.
They bring Mike in. Look, your husband's alive. We've got you.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
The show Cops is at the station capturing Mike's reaction.
Come here, please. Come here.
She keeps begging him to come inside the room, which he doesn't.
Mike, come here. Come here, please.
She sees her husband, and he's alive. What? You're alive?
This is a dead man walking and talking. You never see this happen.
I can't fix this.
Why not? I didn't do anything.
I heard you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
All of her skills as a femme fatale start rolling in. Mike, come here, baby, come to me.
With cameras rolling inside and outside the interrogation room, it is reality TV on steroids.
I don't know what's going on, please.
For Mike DiPolito, it's a surreal love story that quickly turned into a nightmare.
He never saw it coming. For Mike, this was a whirlwind romance. He was head over heels in love with Dahlia.
I met Dahlia and we got along very well. There was never any friction. We never argued. How can I say? Our sex life was incredible.
Meanwhile, the entire time she's plotting behind his back.
There's this side to his wife he has no idea about.
Mike DiPolito insists that the accusations made by Dahlia DiPolito that he is abusive are totally false. Still, Dahlia secretly wants out of the relationship. And authorities say if she can get out with a pile of Mike's money, that's even better.
Mike DiPolito still owed $191,000 restitution, and he was on probation for decades. If he could make that restitution, he could make an argument to get off probation.
But he says Dahlia told him she could help him with that.
Dahlia said, if you can come up with $100,000, I will take $91,000 of my own. I'll put it with your money and we'll send it to the lawyer together. It was her responsibility to wire the money to Mike's lawyer.
She says she's helping him. He thinks that she is. But in reality, she's doing anything but helping him.
Soon, Mike notices odd things are starting to happen.
Before I met her, I don't think I had a run-in with the police since I've been home from prison. I meet her, I'm running into the cops more than I ran into the cops probably ever in my life.
Mike will soon find out that someone is trying to frame him for crimes he didn't commit.
On 2 occasions, drugs were planted in his vehicle. Mike decides to take Dahlia away for a couple of days to the Ritz-Carlton. Mike is stopped by a police officer, and the police officer tells Mike that they had received an anonymous call saying that he was dealing drugs out of his Tahoe.
He goes, do you mind if we search? I said, absolutely, go ahead. He searched the truck, didn't find anything. It was very odd. And then the next day, I go to get gas in the truck, and I find a bag of pills. It looked like cocaine in there, and that's when that hit me. I said, wait a minute. You know, somebody put this in my truck and called the police on me. They just didn't find it.
Authorities say Dahlia figures he's an ex-con, and if she can get him sent away for drugs, he'll be gone for a really long time, and she's home free.
I remember I looked at Dahlia, I said, did you put drugs in my truck? She adamantly denied it, so I let it go. Fine, fine. But you know, every instinct's telling me that it doesn't make sense.
In fact, according to authorities, what she's really trying to do is get Mike DiPolito out of her life.
And that $100,000 he'd given to Dahlia, she was supposed to wire it to his lawyer, but she hadn't.
I knew clearly she stole my money. She's telling me she's going to get it back, and I'm doing everything in my power to believe her.
He just stays in the relationship. He seemed to be, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a chump for love.
Your ex-husband Michael claims you stole a lot of money from him. Money that was supposed to be used to pay his restitution. Did that happen?
No, it's money that he was hiding.
Police say that after her plot to try to get him jailed doesn't work, she ups the ante.
One morning, he gets a knock at the door.
We knocked on his door, and we actually woke him up.
All I see is a bunch of cops, and I'm like, oh boy. I go downstairs.
Police department, open your door.
I hesitantly open the door.
First, he didn't know what was going on.
I thought they were there to arrest me.
And we ended up telling him what we were there for.
You have to come with us. Your wife's gonna have you killed today.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you.
Relax, just take it easy.
Clearly, this just hits him like a ton of bricks. I mean, he literally takes a step back.
We ended up taking him out of the house and driving him straight to the Point Beach Police Department.
They already know why we're here. Your wife hired somebody to kill you.
I also played a little bit of audio where she says, hey, I'm 5,000% sure that I want him killed.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
It wasn't like, you know, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, you know, just blow the guy's brains out and, you know, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
Even from behind bars, Dahlia is not finished trying to manipulate Mike DiPolito when she makes an astonishing phone call.
Well, hello. Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Please come here.
Is she ready to confess, or is this something else?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call.
As Dahlia DiPolito is being led out of the Boynton Beach Police Department and over to the Palm Beach County Jail, she has an audience.
The press, having seen the video released by police, is there to greet her.
Already, the media is out there with their cameras capturing it.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
You were headed to jail. What was that first night like?
It was a complete nightmare. I wasn't even officially in jail as the tapes were getting released, and they were already all over the news. They were everywhere.
Till death do them part. And it's all caught on video.
In the hours since the police released the tape to YouTube, the name Dahlia DiPolito is making the rounds and is making a big giant splash on cable TV.
Bombshell tonight.
A newlywed in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Work it, cry. Problem, ruh-roh, the hitman is a cop. I could just watch the video over and over. It just is one of those clips that never gets old. The crying, the screaming, the bending over. Meryl Streep, wherever you are tonight, don't worry, you're safe.
You became a headline around the world. Everyone knew your name.
It was awful.
While in jail, Dahlia makes a few tearful phone calls, first to her mother.
Hello? Mom, I'm in jail. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
You did. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay. How many times did I tell you to leave that guy? How many times did I tell you?
But her next phone call is unfathomable. From the jail, she calls Mike, the man police say she has just tried to have killed, and offers him no apologies.
Well, hello. Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call. I had to hear what she was going to say. I couldn't help myself to not take that phone call.
Mike, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me?
You said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that.
It's not true. That is not true.
Not true.
How can you believe that?
I heard your voice.
Frankly, it's unbelievable that Dahlia called her husband, the victim in this case, the target of her actions, the person she wanted dead, to ask him to help her.
It is just unbelievable to listen to. The fact that she thought that she could demand that Mike help her is just on another level.
And he's even trying to give her advice as to what to do while she's in jail.
You're going to be ran around in there for a little while, a couple days. You need to just try and just go with it. And keep to yourself and don't say a lot.
I know she's never been in there before. I mean, it's not a nice place. I tried to tell her, stop acting, you know, the way you're acting, or you're going to have a rough time in there.
Like, I love you. Everybody treated me awful.
Things get spelled out for Mike that he was a very lucky man. Prosecutors say that Mike actually survived an earlier attempt on his life.
When Mohammed Shihada was giving a statement to police, he told them that Dahlia had poisoned Mike's Starbucks iced tea with antifreeze. So law enforcement, they just ask him, was there ever an incident with iced tea? And Mike then realized that he was a lot closer to his demise than he ever realized.
She went out and came back with some Starbucks iced teas. I take a sip and I spit it out so fast. It was terrible and I didn't think anything of it. I only took one sip. I was sick for about 2 weeks.
Dahlia's attorney said she never poisoned Mike.
Mike doesn't end up helping her find an attorney, but the attorney she does find ends up presenting one bizarre, wacky, intriguing defense.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
It didn't make an iota of sense to me.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
We begin with the trial of a Florida woman arrested for plotting to kill her husband.
Your trial. Can you describe what that experience was like for you?
Confusing, really difficult. The cameras were there. The TV shows were actually filming the whole thing as I'm entering the courthouse.
Dahlia DiPolito entered the courthouse in a buttoned-up white sweater to meet the men and women who will likely decide her fate.
I have never had a case as a prosecutor that was so strong.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see me and you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. You know, but I'm not.
You will see how determined she was to have Mike DiPolito, her husband, killed.
In opening statements, the prosecutor, Elizabeth Parker, wants to make sure these jurors don't believe that Dahlia is this little innocent figure and that she is a much darker, more evil person.
He asked her, are you sure you want to kill him? Without hesitation, as if she had ice running through her veins, she says, there's no changing. I'm determined already.
My biggest concern, the evidence seemed to be overwhelming. But you have Mike, who's got a shady past. I knew the defense would make him out to be a con man.
Please tell us your name.
Michael DiPolito.
What's awesome about this case is that the jury actually gets to hear from the victim. In a plot to kill somebody, the victim is almost always dead.
I don't know how to explain it. I just don't know how to explain it.
He was a likable character. I knew that I just needed to get him on the stand for long enough to have the jury like him too.
What did you think of your marriage?
I thought it was great. I was having fun with my wife. It's getting off probation, I thought.
Did the defendant seem happy?
Yes.
He completely owns up to his past.
I'm a convicted felon. I go to probation every month and report. I hold my head up as high as I can.
On cross-examination, when Dahlia DiPolito's lawyer keeps asking him and keeps repeating the word probation, Mike DiPolito bites back and makes the entire courtroom laugh.
You're like a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've been called a lot of things. What's a parrot?
Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just having fun with you. Come on, I'm with you.
You having fun
Yeah.
with me? Let me ask you something. Is this fun, Mr. DiPolito?
This sucks.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. We're not here because of me. I might as well, you might as well put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
But another Mike is about to make an entrance into the trial. Mike Stanley, an ex-boyfriend of Dahlia's,
And you're gonna meet Michael Stanley.
who prosecutors say discussed with Dahlia planting the drugs in Mike DiPolito's truck.
So, the prosecution introduced tons of text messages between Dahlia and Mike Stanley.
They were talking about everything they wanted to do once DiPolito was out the way.
So their X-rated conversation is read on the stand by Boynton Beach detective Alex Marino.
Do you want my hot, tight body all over you?
You can just see how uncomfortable this police officer is as he's reading these steamy text messages.
Love you so much. I'm so horny for you. Some of the stuff was kind of cheesy. I mean, I had to read it up on the stand. It was not my best moment. Baby, I love you, and I only want to you.
She's telling Mike Stanley, once this guy's gone, you and I can have the life we've imagined. I will have Michael's money, we'll have this condo, everything will be good.
Greed was the very basic core of why Dahlia did this.
Parker says when Dahlia's plan to put her husband back in prison failed, that's when she took things a step further.
Yeah, but killing somebody, come on. Nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me.
Determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
After the prosecution rests, now it's the defense's turn, and they are going to use that infamous video for their own purposes.
That's where this novel defense theory came into play, a defense theory that was actually a little hard to believe.
The plot for the contract killing of Mike DiPolito was never real.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community, which is, this was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars. So they came up with this idea, and it was all a hoax. It was Mike DiPolito's idea, and Mike DiPolito was in on it, and she's not guilty.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
Dahlia's lawyers claim that Mike and Dahlia DiPolito wanted to be famous. They wanted to be like the stars of Cheaters or Jersey Shore.
Selnick presents a computer forensic expert who found that Dahlia had searched reality shows on her computer.
The website name is, it says, welcome to realitytvcastingcall.com.
It fits with his obsession about his appearance, his vanity, and others might be interested in his reality.
I was shocked. I mean, where was the evidence that this was a reality show plot?
Listen to me for a second, okay?
I didn't do anything.
At no time does she ever stand up and say, well, hold on a minute. This was all Michael, Muhammad, wait a minute. This is all a setup. We were all acting, right? Wouldn't be that the first thing out of your mouth if you're about to be arrested.
And not only that, Mike DiPolito strenuously denied that it had anything to do with reality TV tryouts.
Did you ever have aspirations to be on a reality show?
No.
Did you ever act out any scenarios with a defendant for a reality show?
No. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't even believe they made something like that up. I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old man, 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
This defense received a fair amount of eyebrow raising.
She didn't want to kill her husband. She just wanted to be on a reality show.
A pretty shocking twist in the case of the Florida wife caught on tape taking a contract out on her husband. Well, we got to bring in our legal analyst, Dan Abrams, on this one. And Dan, all of us just shook our heads when we heard this.
I've seen a lot of wild and crazy defenses in my day, and this is certainly one of the wildest and one of the craziest.
The reaction to this defense was, are you kidding me? This is an almost impossible defense to win. And so I think in order for it to succeed, Dahlia DiPolito would have to take the witness stand.
Judge, the defense is going to rest.
But Dahlia does not end up testifying.
It was a daily yes, you're going to testify. No, you're not going to testify. And
Did you want to testify?
Yes, I did.
She's like poison candy. Attractive on the outside, but deadly on the inside.
I was confident in the case that I had presented. I was truly concerned that it was such a bizarre defense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
Except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Now closing arguments continue in the Dalia Dippolito murder for hire trial.
And this case will go to the jury before lunch.
It was a typically hot day in Florida, but that is not why Dalia Dippolito was sweating. She was facing up to 30 years behind bars.
Waiting for the verdict. What was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. It's just really stressful, really tense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
The jury took just 3 hours to come to a decision.
We find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
I was numb. It wasn't at all what I was expecting to hear.
Verdict, we the jury.
I never had the impression or the understanding from my attorney that losing was a possibility. Everything was always, you know what, we got this.
Wow.
We have really good poker faces, apparently.
We all just said, well, she's guilty.
Yeah.
It was just kind of unanimous.
And the defense didn't present anything that really represented this was for a reality TV show.
And she said, I am 5,000% sure. And that did it for me.
There is absolutely no moral justification for your conduct. It was pure evil. I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections.
I looked at her in that courtroom and I just said to myself, man, this is sad. I wish we were never here. And as far as the sentence, I'm 5,000% happy with it.
That seemed to be it. Case closed, except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Everybody thinks, bye-bye, Dalia, that's it. But it turns out she got an appeal.
In the last hours, the Black Widow, Dalia Dippolito, set to walk free.
The appeals court tosses out the conviction.
Dalia's lawyers argue there was a problem during jury selection. And then, 3 years later, a court agrees. And so Dalia Dippolito is getting a new trial.
Were you surprised?
The first piece of good news throughout the whole process.
So now we move on to Dalia round 2. That's right, she's coming back a second time. And this time, there's a new cast of players.
For this second trial, Dalia hires 2 high-profile lawyers she's seen on TV, Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Claypool.
Defense attorney Brian Claypool, nice to see you both.
I am 5,000% sure Dalia Dippolito is innocent.
Dalia's new lawyers allow her to speak publicly for the first time, and that's when I had the opportunity to exclusively interview her.
Your every move is monitored.
Clearly, the strategy was for Dalia to try and undergo a bit of an image rehabilitation.
When people hear the name Dalia Dippolito, what do you think comes to mind?
Everything negative.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dalia Dippolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
Because it was a pre-trial interview, Dalia's lawyers wouldn't let her discuss certain parts of the case, particularly those videotapes.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like.
Okay. Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
I'd like to be able to explain that to you right now, but I can't because the attorneys legally have told me that we're saving that for our day in court.
In our interview, Dalia's lawyer, Brian Claypool, reiterated that reality TV defense that we saw in her first trial.
Dalia, her ex Mike, and this gentleman Mohammed were all part of this collaboration to put together a YouTube video of a scene where they're hiring somebody to kill somebody. They wanted to submit that, post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. that was the plan. It got out of control.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
5,000% sure, not 100% sure, not 1,000% sure, but 5,000% sure. How do you explain that?
I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well, you might find that humorous, but when I hear people say they're sure, I'm 110% sure. She's trying to overcompensate.
As for Mohammed, he denies working with Mike and Dahlia to make a video to try and get acting jobs. Mike DiPolito says he's never even met Mohammed.
What do you say to people who say you're just denying the undeniable, that this is an open and shut case?
That now with the attorneys that I have, so much is coming to light to where it would just be insane to not believe me. The tape it was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
Dahlia DiPolito escorted into court by her attorneys for her second trial.
Dahlia's second trial is going to shock a lot of people in a number of ways.
Claypool dropped this bomb.
He just throws off like it's nothing. And by the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son. What infant son?
Walking on the sidewalk right now, this doesn't happen very often.
No, this doesn't happen at all. This is the first time I've had to walk in a long time.
Yeah, your every move is monitored.
I took a rare walk with Dahlia DiPolito outside her lawyer's office while she was on house arrest, awaiting her second trial. She was living at her mother's house, tethered to an ankle bracelet.
This is what it looks like, and it doesn't come off at all.
You've been living under house arrest for the better part of 5 years, nearly 6 years. What's been the hardest part?
Not knowing when it's over, not being able to leave, watching everybody around me being able to come and go as they want, and I can't do that.
After Dahlia's first trial, she was convicted. Prosecutor Liz Parker wrote a book about it called Poison Candy.
This is what she wrote about you. She was poison candy, sweet, delicious, mouth-watering on the outside, but deadly within, and designed to cripple the innocent. What's it like hearing those words?
It's hurtful. When I found out that the book was out, I was suicidal.
Do you think people will change their minds about you when they hear from you in your second trial?
I'd like to believe so.
It's at a pretrial hearing, part of an attempt by her lawyers to get the case dismissed, where Dahlia finally has her chance to tell her side of the story under oath.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You take the witness stand on my right.
It's not unusual at all for a defendant to take the stand in a pretrial hearing as long as it's not in front of a jury.
Good afternoon, Ms. DiPolito.
She actually takes the stand, and she gets up and describes that I was acting, she says. I was acting.
We worked together on an acting project. We were all going to work on an actor's presentation to put up on social media.
That did not go well for Dahlia. Under cross-examination, the prosecutor, he just tore her story apart. He was, okay, first of all, where's the script? Where are the notes? Wouldn't you have production notes?
Where was your script this day?
What do you mean, where was it?
Where was it?
It wasn't there. We looked at the script and we didn't take it with us.
The prosecution punches holes in this reality TV defense. One of the questions was, if this is all about reality TV, how come you can't clearly see your face, you know, with the cameras in the back of the car?
How come you can't see any of it?
I wasn't the one taking it. I don't know.
She had so many holes in her story, it made no sense.
her true self shine through. She was so not convincing at that pretrial hearing under oath that the court ruled against her.
She loses the hearing, and so the motion to dismiss the case fails.
9 months later, it's Dahlia's second trial.
The high-profile retrial getting underway today in West Palm Beach.
Dahlia Dippolito getting a second chance at freedom after her first conviction was overturned.
Trial 2 was handled quite a bit differently by the prosecution. They were going to stick to those videos, and that was it. They didn't even call Michael Dippolito to testify.
Because the rest of the evidence was so powerful, my prosecutors felt that they would just go with the slimmed-down version of the case.
Her words on those videos prove the crime charged.
In the second trial, Dahlia's lawyers abandoned this reality TV defense.
The defense focused on the misconduct, they said, of the Boynton Beach Police Department. They were trying to flip the script and put all the blame on the police.
So far, no mention of that reality show acting defense that she had talked about previously.
Gone is this reality TV nonsense. Now they're leveling their charges against the Boynton Beach Police Department because Boynton Beach had brought cops in.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? That opening theme song, Bad Boys, is so synonymous with the show, a show that is supposed to put a spotlight on the good work police do every day.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
At the beginning, the Boynton Beach Police Department really wanted to highlight their professionalism by participating with the cops television show, but at the trial, the defense really hammered them and went after them, effectively putting them on trial.
This is a fake crime scene, right? Right?
Yes.
It's all pretend, right?
Yes.
It's all made up, right?
Yes.
And you think that's a good use of taxpayer money?
My opinion doesn't matter.
Sustained.
The presence of the cops TV show created a frenzy within the Boynton Beach Police Department to manufacture good television. They tossed Dahlia Dippolito under the bus. They made this way more than it ever was. And they could care less about her constitutional rights.
The Boynton Beach police say there was no wrongdoing and they were just trying to gather evidence.
Cops filming with the Boynton Beach Police Department had nothing to do with this investigation. It was just a coincidence as far as timing was concerned.
Then the defense pulls out its ace card, and it's a showstopper.
Claypool gets up, he's making this dramatic closing argument, and he just throws off like it's nothing.
Give her that freedom back to go home to her family and her infant son.
By the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son.
We all sort of are like the reporters in the back row. We're all sort of like, look, did I just hear that she has a child?
The latest bombshell was dropped last night during closing arguments.
Turns out it was the appliance repairman. He came to her house, they fell in love, she got pregnant, and she had a baby, all on house arrest.
And right now, we're on verdict watch in the Dahlia Dippolito retrial.
I think there was a general expectation that she would be convicted.
A bombshell announcement in the murder-for-hire case against Dahlia Dippolito.
We, the jury, feel that we cannot reach a unanimous decision.
The jury telling the judge late today they are deadlocked.
I must declare a mistrial at this time. There were 3 votes for guilty and 3 votes for not guilty.
Courtroom shocker, Dahlia Dippolito walking out a free woman after a judge declared a mistrial in her murder-for-hire retrial.
I can count on one finger the number of people in this country who felt we even had a chance in this case.
Whenever you don't get a conviction, you're disappointed. But I knew that we had a great team and we would do it again and perhaps do it a little differently.
Immediately after trial number 2, the state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, said, we are taking her to trial again.
There was not a second when we thought that we would let her go free. Not a second.
prosecutors vowing to try her a third time.
And so now we're going on to Dahlia Chapter 3.
This is the third time Dippolito has been on trial for this murder for hire case.
Heading into the third trial, prosecutors are certainly hoping that they can finally close the book on this case.
We knew she tried to commit murder, and she had gotten away with it thus far. And until we heard the word guilty, we were not going to be able to exhale fully.
This is the third time Dippolito has been on trial for this murder for hire case.
Well, the prosecutors for the third trial this time went back to the original strategy of putting on more of a prosecution.
We wanted the jury to get more context. We wanted the jury to see Michael Dippolito.
Introduce yourself to the jury for the record.
Hi, my name is Mike Dippolito.
By humanizing the victim, you impress upon them truly the importance of this case. It's vitally important that they put him on the stand.
Did her arrest for solicitation to commit first-degree murder shock you?
Yes.
Would it work? Well, in this third trial, it didn't take long for the jury to make its decision.
A verdict for the woman on trial in a murder for hire.
Well, some say 3 times a charm, but not for Dahlia Dippolito.
She was found guilty in 90 minutes. I mean, we were all a bit stunned. There was apparently no doubt in the jurors' minds.
16 years behind bars. That is the sentence for Dahlia Dippolito.
Dahlia Dippolito expressionless inside a Palm Beach County courtroom today, moments after learning her fate.
Dahlia's current release date is 2032. She serves the entirety of that sentence. She'd be 49 years old when released.
Dahlia, in jail, heads up a Bible study group. She misses her child dearly. Her mom has stepped up immensely to help take care of her little boy. He's a preschooler, and he comes to visit his mom in jail at least once a month. And Dahlia has described him as being very playful, very happy, very outgoing. She is still determined to get a new trial and to get vindicated.
Dahlia's attorneys have tried to get the verdict thrown out again.
Her case, she tried to get her case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Dahlia's appeal.
The Dahlia Dippolito saga is finally over. The reality show is done. The last chapter has been written.
We're still fighting, and we're going to file a federal brief to attempt to get a new trial for Dahlia.
After she left the prosecutor's office, Elizabeth Parker became Mike Dippolito's attorney and even helped get him off probation.
He paid all of the restitution that was owed to the victims.
Mike got engaged and seems to be moving forward with his life.
How much do you love this guy?
I love him a lot.
It's nice. Sometimes it's hard to accept something this good's happening to you.
He's very lucky to be alive.
It's not been an easy journey for him. He truly thought Dahlia was the love of his life.
Did you ever love Mike Dippolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him. I was in a relationship with him because I loved him.
And now?
Now, I wish I never would have met him.
Oh, I feel the same way. I wish I would have made a left, not a right. Trust me.
My name is Jesse James. For 17 years, we have lived with the pain of losing our daughter, Holly. It's something that cannot be explained in words. Recently, I decided to write to the person responsible for taking Holly from us. I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure what I'm reaching for, but it just feels like I need to express my thoughts. Many, many people loved Holly, and you took her from all of us. I still have episodes of grief that I'm unable to control. Why did he choose Holly? I've decided to reach out and try to discover that.
So right now, I'm on my way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It's one of the largest military bases in the world. Some say that this base right here is America's first line of defense. I'm investigating a mysterious disappearance of an Army nurse. Her name is Second Lieutenant Holly Lynn James. When Holly fails to show up for her shift at Womack Army Medical Center, it causes concern because it's something totally out of character for any soldier.
I was driving back to Fort Bragg from Iowa, and I received a text from a friend at work asking me when the last time I heard from Holly was. It was unusual. Holly was very dependable, and it's just, you know, being an Army officer, it was kind of unheard of to not show up for work.
Her co-workers went to her apartment, and when they got there, they found that she wasn't there, and it had been set on fire. So they called the police.
Pretty much as soon as Holly went missing, I heard about it. Our homicide team heard about it. It was very concerning. She had just sort of disappeared into thin air.
This is the face of the missing Fort Bragg soldier. Has not been seen since Wednesday.
Holly was driven by ambition, an unshakable work ethic, and felt a powerful call to serve her country.
A lot of us are military in our family, and she wanted to go out and do something great.
Holly's younger brother, Bo, a Marine himself, says that Holly had found her calling. As a nurse, were you pretty proud of her?
Absolutely, yeah. They're absolutely lifesavers.
She wanted to go to Iraq. I said, why would you want to go to Iraq, to the war zone? And she said, Dad, I just think I can help soldiers if I'm out there as a first responder in a war zone. I can do more good and help more soldiers.
Although Holly never served in combat and was ultimately stationed in the U.S., she was going places, and by age 23 had become a second lieutenant in the United States Army.
Even though I was a sergeant major, she was technically a higher rank than me starting out, you know, and I was pretty proud of that. They assigned her to the mother-baby ward at Womack. She just always wanted to be in the thick of things.
She was a floor nurse. She loved helping people all the time, and she really loved children.
Actually, at the time, Holly was raising a couple of children on her own, born from a relationship with her ex-boyfriend from her hometown of Dubuque, Iowa. Then in 2007, she met this 22-year-old Marine, Corporal John Wymonk, a combat engineer who was stationed along with her brother Bo at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. Colonel Kirk Cordova was John Wymonk's commanding officer.
He's a non-commissioned officer working towards being a sergeant and probably one of the best ranks in the Marine Corps. So he was very proficient, I can tell you that.
We deployed together. A lot of times we were looking for explosives or blowing things up. He was very good at our robots that we used for looking for explosives or setting them.
I was embedded in the war zone with the Marines in the invasion of Iraq in 2003. The level of danger was similar to what they experienced.
Marines continue to bring their heavy armor north.
And you realize just how intense their jobs really are. Why did you decide you wanted to introduce him to your sister, Holly?
Everything he said just seemed so funny. And I thought Holly deserved some humor in her life too.
She outranked him. She was an officer and he was an enlisted man, lower enlisted man.
The couple eventually married and shared an apartment together in Fayetteville, just outside the gates of Fort Bragg. Wymonk lived 2 hours away at Camp Lejeune, but would visit on weekends.
Holly and John seemed happy. It seemed like a good match. Being a dual military couple, it's just that extra layer of complication. You're just apart quite a bit.
During Wymonk's deployment, Holly bridged the distance with heartfelt video messages.
I bought this camcorder just so I could talk to you. So I just wanted to tell you hi, and I love you, and I miss you. I'm very proud of you.
There was a number of videos that she had made for him, you know, and they were sweet.
I'm pretty excited. You'll be here in 2 months.
She would talk about, you know, how much she loved him, how much she was looking forward to him coming back.
I didn't talk to you, so I just wanted to send you a quick hi and let you know that everything's okay.
Just being a sweet gal.
Together, they were rising in the military ranks, newly married, full of hope, but everything would change on that terrible night Holly went missing.
There is still no official word on the whereabouts and the fate of Army Lieutenant Holly Wymonk.
Investigators speak with Wymonk, who says that he was hours away at Camp Lejeune and knew nothing about Holly's whereabouts.
My wife got the call at home, and they said Holly was missing.
Police and federal investigators are on the case. Crime scene tape surrounds the apartment complex.
I began to see reports on the internet. The first report I saw was the police there, the military there, and they were towing her car away from the apartment complex.
There was a lot of interest locally and nationally about what had happened to Holly.
I had reporters on my doorstep, and they were asking if I knew anything about Holly, what could I tell them? I think that's when I realized it was bigger than what I was imagining.
At this point, we didn't know if this was a random act of violence that occurred, or if this is someone that had kidnapped Holly or killed Holly.
It's currently under investigation, and we're working with Fort Bragg trying to locate this person.
People are scared, people are worried, and they've got to go fast to try to find her.
It was all happening so rapidly, so quick.
You decided to fly out to see exactly what's happening.
I did.
But your main job was really to find her.
I came here on a mission. I was scared to death because I was afraid of what I was going to find.
And when investigators are given the all clear to enter Holly's apartment,
there was a note that had survived the fire.
This letter.
What or who will they uncover?
Oh, look at the cheeks there.
I know, huge cheeks, you know.
She's adorable.
Really very cute, huh? She was a little daddy's girl. She loved working at that hospital. I had no doubt she was going to stay in the Army because she loved it that much.
She found the job she loves.
Yep, she did.
She was up for the challenge. And from what I know, I think she did great.
She worked really hard so she'd be able to get a good life and a good job to be able to raise us better.
At the time of Holly's disappearance in July of 2008, her children, Harper, just 7, and 3-year-old Kendall, were far from the chaos, visiting their father back in Iowa.
We were not there when our mom went missing.
Authorities finally released the name and picture of Second Lieutenant Holly Wymonk, a nurse at Womack Army Medical Center.
You decided to fly out to see exactly what's happening.
I did. You know, my first thought was go to the media like I've seen other families do. Ask Holly to surface, or if somebody's got Holly, ask them to bring her back, you know. And then I thought I should do that from Fayetteville. I should do that from Fort Bragg. Because if she is around there, you know, I can say, here I am, right here, and you can come to see me.
We're in constant contact with the family.
What exactly did the investigators tell you?
Well, that evening, when I got here and I met with the chief of detectives, one of the first questions I said is my daughter dead? And he said, we can't say that. He said, because that hasn't been proven. But he said, I can tell you we have grave, grave concern.
Once the flames were out, investigators combed through the charred remains of Holly's apartment, searching for anything the fire had not destroyed.
For the second day in a row, state and federal agents scoured the young woman's burned apartment.
The case would soon fall to Detective Jeff Locklear of the Fayetteville Police Department, the man tasked with uncovering what happened to Holly. What was your reaction when you learned that the woman that's missing was a soldier?
My partner and I, we were surprised. At that time, you know, the whole city was kind of on edge.
How far are we from her apartment?
So as the crow flies, maybe a mile, not very far at all. All of that stuff was pretty centralized around the mall area of Fayetteville.
Holly's apartment sits along this busy stretch of road just 5 miles outside the gates of Fort Bragg, where she worked as an Army nurse.
And her apartment building was actually the first building that you come to on the right.
Down here, 146.
Yep, 146. Well, as soon as we got here, we could tell, you know, looking through the back window, that place had been burned. She, of course, was not in there.
What's the first thing you saw when you walked in?
Well, I think a better question would be what was the first thing that I smelled, and that was gasoline. And there was so much gasoline in the apartment poured on the floor and on the carpet that as my partner and I would walk, it would kind of gush up next to our shoe. So the fire department was really concerned about they said the spark could light this whole place up.
Why was it the building was not completely burnt to the ground?
Anybody can strike a match, but you got to know, you got to have enough air. With this amount of gasoline that was poured in the apartment, they didn't have enough air. They should have left the door open to have vented it more, and we would have had a more complete fire.
So this was an arson, but not a very talented arson.
Exactly.
So in 2008, I was a forensic technician dispatched via radio to respond out to an apartment fire at that time. I initially just started taking photographs around. There's a certain level of emotion that teeters on excitement and anxiousness because you're kind of afraid of what you might find.
By the front door, investigators discovered Holly's purse, still holding her ID, credit cards, her keys, and phone. For the detectives, the abandoned belongings are a red flag.
Typically, being a woman myself, if I were to go off somewhere, my purse and at least my personal belongings, credit cards, things of that nature would have come with me.
As investigators push deeper into the apartment, the kitchen reveals its own disturbing clue.
I noticed that there was a knife block sitting over on the counter, and several knives were missing from the knife block.
We couldn't find any of those knives like in a drawer or maybe dirty in the sink. They were missing from that house altogether.
We knew that could have been used as some sort of a weapon, so we certainly took note of that as well.
The missing knives raised the grim possibility that Holly was stabbed. There were also signs of blood spatter in her bedroom, along with another disturbing piece of evidence.
Probably one of the most alarming things about the master bedroom is, one, the carpet, the large amount of carpet that had been cut from around the door frame. It was almost, carved precisely to cut out a specific shape. So all of the bedding had been removed to include the pillowcases. So that was a little out of the norm as well, of a home that had been lived in where there was absolutely no bed linen on it at all.
Then eagle-eyed detectives spot something easy to miss, a single bullet hole in the closet door.
Something potentially could have occurred right in front of the closet.
Amid the devastation, one piece of evidence survived, and it would become the investigation's biggest clue.
I just happened to notice an odd scrap of paper in the middle of the hallway. Then once I uncrumpled the ball of paper, I notified Detective Locklear that there was a message on it.
A note survived the fire.
This letter.
We just thought it might have just been some trash, some refuse, whatever, until we unraveled it.
Can you read that?
It says something to the effect of, she shot herself, and I tried to make it look like an accident.
The note, scrawled in jagged handwriting and unsigned, hinted at Holly's fate, but raised more questions than answers.
It wasn't consistent with what we were seeing, but obviously it was an important piece of evidence that we took note of.
Was the note a confession or a calculated attempt to throw investigators off the trail?
Even the smallest details are something that it may be insignificant now, but down the line it might be one of the most critical pieces of evidence that you have.
When Holly's father arrives at the scene, the evidence looks grim, and yet he holds out hope.
I believed Holly was alive. I said, I'm going to work to try to get her back here, and I'm going to do everything that I can do to try to get her back.
The thought was that she still could be alive and that we could find her, but we knew this also could end very tragically.
And with an active duty soldier missing, the U.S. Army search and rescue mission kicks into high gear.
I mean, the Army's got a missing soldier, and that's a big deal.
We'll dedicate as many people as we have because this is one of our own. That's a sister.
This young mother, this soldier is missing. The clock was ticking.
But where was Holly? And is there a hidden secret in this last photo taken of her before she vanished? We're now inside Fort Bragg, North Carolina, about 250 square miles, about 50,000 active duty soldiers. Fort Bragg is a city unto itself, sprawling, relentless, and brimming with power. Soldiers here often call it the center of the military universe. And when 2nd Lieutenant Holly James goes missing, the U.S. Army mobilizes fast, launching an all-out search, working around the clock to find answers.
Good to see you.
Special Agent Al Diaz is the man in charge of the Army's Criminal Investigation Division at Fort Bragg. What do you remember when the news came out that Holly was missing?
Just like any time a service member shows up missing, there's just that natural sense of concern. And then what we can do to help local law enforcement find her.
Does it become 24 hours a day?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to put as much effort and resources to it until you find the individual. Are they just missing? Did they succumb to foul play? Like, you just don't know.
Fort Bragg sits like a fortress. At its heart is Womack Medical Center, where Holly worked as an Army nurse. With 13 access points in and out, CID's task was clear: reconstruct Holly's every step in the days before she vanished. Adam Armstrong is a special agent with CID.
All right, so you get the call from the police about what was happening that afternoon.
So when we get that, we'll immediately get a picture of her out so we can start working on the reward posters and all that. And then we start figuring out, okay, how can we start putting together elements to go out and start searching?
Tell us where we're going.
Right now, we're just heading back to the one side of base where Holly was last seen.
Investigators learned that just 2 nights before she was reported missing, Holly had been seen at a late-night softball game on base.
So this is the last place that she was
right here on the right-hand side.
So this was the 8th, 2 days before they discovered that she was missing. This is where she was.
And so a sergeant first class had invited her out to come watch. And then after the game, she actually approached him. He actually helped out a lot. Played a big role in understanding the last time that she was seen.
This is the last photo of Holly taken just before she disappeared.
He said she was happy that night, bubbly, and just seemed to be in good spirits. With the cell phone analysis, and they were able to identify that she did leave the base and she did make it home.
Something had happened to Holly. You just felt like you had to get here?
Had to come.
While Army investigators combed the base, Holly's father, Jesse James, launches his own search for answers.
I had to get to Fort Bragg, so I had to think about how I was going to get sort of control of the situation.
Your father was on a mission to try to figure out what happened to his daughter, to your sister.
Absolutely. He was on a mission, and 10 seconds of hearing that his daughter was missing, he wasn't going to let it go, nor should he.
Thinking about my grandfather dropping everything to fly to Fayetteville and find her, that's a man who loves his daughter.
And it shows how loving and caring he is and how deeply he loves his family.
The thought occurred to me that I'm going to go to the bank and see if she had any charges on her checking account or credit card since she disappeared. I got up and drove over to the bank. I said, are there any recent charges in the past day to her credit card or her checking account?
A bank attorney confirms that there had been activity on Holly's account, charges dated the very day she vanished.
So there was hope.
Oh, let's see. I walked away stepping lightly, as quickly as I could, called Detective Locklear, and he almost hung up on me. He wanted to call that bank to get a warrant to get the checking account information.
But to Jesse's disappointment, what seems like a promising lead goes nowhere. It turns out those transactions were older ones, charges that had only just been cleared.
Took all the wind out of me and was right back where we started.
Desperate for answers, Jesse comes here to Holly's workplace at Womack Medical Center to try to retrace his daughter's footsteps.
Yeah, so this is where she was, huh?
It is where she was. The morning after I got here, I just walked in and introduced myself, and I could just feel a shockwave go through the unit, you know, because they were experiencing it just like we were. She loved these people, and she loved the people she worked with. I could sense a presence here of Holly. I could see her just running the hall. She never walked slow. I could see her just rushing through these hallways, and I could feel that. And I thought, I just might be putting my feet where her feet were. And that affected me.
Days into the investigation, there is still no sign of Holly. But then an unexpected twist, a possible link to another female soldier who had also gone missing from Fort Bragg.
These mysterious letters come into the Fayetteville Observer as well as the Fayetteville Police Department.
CID said, look, we got a second female soldier that's missing and has possibly been harmed.
We wondered, could this be connected to Holly's case?
Are we dealing with a copycat here?
A disturbing letter, marked with a chilling symbol.
And there it is on that mirror in the lipstick.
And could there be a connection to Holly?
I'm like, I don't know, this has never happened. It's like something we see in a movie. When I left the crime scene, I didn't think that we would find her alive.
Summer 2008, Holly Lynn James has vanished. Teams of investigators search for clues in a burned-out apartment near Fort Bragg Army Base. But it turns out Holly's not the only female soldier in the area to go missing that June.
Yeah, right at the same time, there's 2 different investigations, also with soldiers, also females.
It's 2 females now. Both are in the military, and both of the situations are nothing about them is normal. It was getting interesting here at the Fayetteville Police Department.
About a month before Holly disappeared, another female soldier from Fort Bragg went missing. The police got a call saying that there was a strange odor coming out of this hotel, and that took a chilling turn.
A deceased person was located inside room 143. She was dressed in a bathing suit, almost as like she had just left the pool. And then when the maintenance guy found her, the water was still running in the bathtub.
She was submerged in the bathtub, and so there was water everywhere. There was actually a towel along the bottom edge of the door, so whoever had done it was thinking ahead. And so that way the water couldn't get out to alert anybody.
This room had been rented to a Megan Tuma. Megan was a soldier, an active duty soldier.
23-year-old Megan Tuma was a dental specialist who had been with the Army for 5 years. Her body was found in a hotel room June 21st. She was 7 months pregnant and may have been dead for days.
Megan Tuma had newly transferred to Fort Bragg from a military base in Germany. She was supposed to go to work, and she didn't show up for work. They did not notice that she was missing.
She's found on the 21st of June. The last time she was seen, I believe, was 15 June, and so there's about a 6-day gap. And then the hotel that she was staying in off post, she had one of those do not disturbs on. And so that's why she was in there for a lengthy time without anybody coming in.
So she was in an advanced state of decomposition. Some evidence of a struggle, some of what we believe to be blood, light blood transfer on the wall.
So she was murdered in that hotel.
The autopsy revealed she had been strangled. We flipped the switch in and it went to a homicide investigation. There was something else in the room though that made us really suspicious. The mirror outside the bathroom had a very large insignia drawn on it in lipstick. That insignia that was drawn there was the zodiac sign. A couple of days later, we get a letter through the mail from a person purporting to be somebody who is reenacting the Zodiac murders from the West Coast.
From 1968 to 1974, several newspapers in the San Francisco area received a series of anonymous letters from the self-proclaimed Zodiac killer who claimed credit for up to 37 murders. The 2007 movie Zodiac put one of America's biggest unsolved murder cases on the big screen.
It's unsigned except for a symbol. Is it me? Or does that look like a gun sign?
A letter has surfaced claiming the murder is a work of a serial killer.
Good morning, Robin. That letter certainly has gotten everyone's attention. In a twisted case with very few leads, police have been forced to pay particular attention to this letter sent to a local newspaper. The writer signed the letter with a symbol made famous by the infamous Zodiac killer of the 1960s.
The Fayetteville Observer received a letter, and this is what the letter said. I am responsible for the dead body that was found on Saturday, June 21st at 11:30 in room 143. I confess that I have killed many times before in several states, but now I will start using my role model's signature.
We were sitting down in a meeting with CID about this exact letter when we got the call to go out to Holly's apartment. We were like, what is going on here? It's like something you see in a movie. The guy's trying to communicate with the police by way of mail.
And you're looking at the possibility this could be the same killer.
Of course, the same symbol is on the bottom of this letter that was written on the mirror in the hotel room, in the lipstick. So are we dealing with a copycat here?
We very much thought that it was a possibility these were connected. Was Holly this killer's next victim, which would have been just a couple of weeks after Megan Tuma's murder. So it was certainly of interest and of concern in the disappearance of Holly.
The public is demanding answers. Now people are making phone calls. They're calling the chief, the city council. Hey, is there a serial killer in Fayetteville?
But as investigators dig deeper into the Megan Tuma case, they begin to question that serial killer theory. Detectives are able to uncover evidence that her murder might have been a highly personal one. And the trail leads to someone very close to her.
She had began a relationship with an individual and she had become pregnant as a result of that relationship. Well, it turns out he was married. He was in the military on the same base in Germany that Megan was assigned to. And we did a search warrant on his house, and you wouldn't believe it, he was actually actively taking a crime scene class at a local college here in Fayetteville.
Authorities begin to close in on the man that they think might be responsible for Megan's murder. And in that parallel investigation, detectives also uncover evidence that Holly's disappearance also might not have been random, that it too could have been a highly personal crime.
It was obvious that something terrible had happened to Holly, and we were fairly certain that it was someone close to her that had done it.
Could a woman connected to John Wymonk with a possible grudge against Holly be responsible for her disappearance?
She was a threat?
She was a threat.
Two women stationed at Fort Bragg have met with tragedy. Fayetteville, North Carolina is a town on edge.
I think it's horrible what happened.
Stop you in your tracks.
The community was scared. It sort of put a lot of pressure on us as well. The public is wanting to know, what are we doing about it?
But then a huge development in the Megan Tuma case as Fayetteville police close in on the person they suspect is responsible for her murder.
Police in North Carolina are expected to offer details today about the death of a pregnant Fort Bragg soldier.
Who was it that was ultimately found to be the murderer in this case?
The person that was responsible for taking Megan Tuma's life was Edgar Patino. He was the father of her child that she was carrying.
And then the person claiming to have killed her had sent letters to the newspaper and to the police, claiming to be like the Zodiac killer.
We were able to prove that the letters that were sent were typed at our suspect's house by a typewriter in our suspect's room.
Edgar was also married at the time, and he had killed Megan Tuma because she was pregnant with a child, and yet he was still married and he wanted to remain with his wife.
And he's the one that set that crime scene up. He's the one that drew that Zodiac sign on the mirror.
Patino was playing games with the cops, trying to be too clever for his own good and lead them astray, and I don't think they ever really bought it.
So at that point, we had ruled out that the killer of Megan Tuma was also the killer or person responsible for the disappearance of Holly.
So now the race is on to find the culprit behind Holly's disappearance. A review of the evidence at the crime scene has investigators convinced that Holly knew her assailant.
There was no evidence that there was an intruder who had forced their way into the home through the door, through a window, or something like that.
We never thought that some stranger walking down Morganton Road just decided to peep through this girl's window and do all of this. We were fairly certain that the person that had done all these things knew her and that she knew that person.
Did it seem to indicate that this may have been done by somebody who knew the details of that apartment?
Holly either let that person in or that person made his way into the apartment by some other means, possibly by a key.
Detectives believe that whoever was in Holly's apartment also tried to cover up evidence of what happened there.
We found actually a carpet cleaner, and we tested that carpet cleaner, and it tested positive for blood on a preliminary test. Just from what I'd seen, the reaction we got from the luminol, the amount of carpet that was cut from the floor in the bedroom, the bed sheets and clothing and stuff had been taken off the bed. All those were indicators for me that there had been at least some measure of crime scene cleanup that had tried to take place.
Whoever did this might have tried to cover their tracks, but that crumpled letter was left behind.
It appeared that whoever wrote that note was inside the apartment when this terrible thing happened to Holly, but it does not identify who they were or what their relationship to Holly was.
The person that wrote this letter is the person that tried to burn that apartment, which is the person that knows where Holly's at. That's the way I was looking at it.
At the time of Holly's disappearance, we knew she was going through a tumultuous time in her life.
As investigators look into Holly's personal life for clues, they learned that about 8 months before she went missing, Holly had filed a request for a temporary restraining order against an ex-girlfriend of her husband named Lindsay. In the filing, Holly alleges that for 18 months, the defendant has continuously posted pictures of herself and my spouse on the internet with comments directed at me and claims I have changed my phone number 6 times.
Holly would always call Lindsay John's little girlfriend. I think there was a lot of yelling, a lot of swearing. Holly was getting exhausted because of the bombardment. I think she was just at the end of her rope.
Lindsay denied harassing Holly. In fact, she tells investigators Holly was the one harassing her, and she was never served with Holly's request for a restraining order.
She was considered a threat. That's why we wanted to look at her, because we had to consider her.
But when investigators talk to her, she denies having anything to do with Holly's disappearance. They also discover she had an alibi on the date Holly disappeared.
What did she say?
She provided a full breakdown of her timeline leading up to the disappearance of Holly.
She was not in Fayetteville the night Holly went missing.
So there was no evidence whatsoever to charge her for what happened to Holly.
She had no criminal culpability in this at all.
While Lindsay is fully cleared, investigators say she provides them with some revealing information about John Wymonk's activities the night of Holly's disappearance.
She actually told us about a phone call that she had with John, and John said that he was actually on his way to Fayetteville. So that was a key piece of evidence for us.
When she called him, he was like, I'm on my way, I can't do this anymore.
Why would he reveal this to her?
That's what we had to look at.
As investigators learn more about John Wymonk, they decide to bring him in again to answer questions about his wife's disappearance.
I'm at the point where I have no idea what's going on, okay? This is my wife. What the will come with my wife? That's what we're all trying to find out.
And a shocking discovery in the middle of nowhere will bring yet another Marine into the frame.
Guess where I just come from? There's soot and dirt on my shoe. Why do you think there's soot and dirt on my shoe? How am I supposed to believe anything that you say? For God's sake, son, I need to find this woman. I got to do something for these kids.
Let you know that everything's okay.
I'll talk to you later, baby.
Tell him it's a Chevy.
It's a Chevy.
This young mother, this soldier is missing. The clock was ticking.
What the going on with my wife? You know what I mean? That's what we're all trying to find out.
Here was a mysterious person running through the parking lot and getting into a black pickup truck.
Today is the day of salvation. You better get on board right now.
What he specifically said is, are y'all looking for a blonde girl?
If you somehow committed a perfect murder and left no evidence, you could get away with it.
He's like, what's the worst you've ever done? He said the worst thing I've ever done is killed somebody.
He carved her name into a bullet and told her, this one's for you.
It's come to Jesus time. Now you tell me the rest of it. Tell me the rest of it.
For many years, I woke up at 4 a.m., went to the basement so I could cry, and called out for my daughter. When I had contacted you, I had no idea it would be so complicated. You stole my daughter from me.
Holly was a second lieutenant nurse corps officer. She was assigned to Womack Army Medical Center at Fort Bragg. All of her patients loved her. Her coworkers loved her.
That morning of the 10th of July, that was the first indication that something strange had happened.
She didn't show up for work, and she wouldn't answer any of the calls from her friends. And for them, that was a big deal.
Her coworkers there became concerned, so they went to her apartment and found that it had been set on fire.
But what the scene did tell us was that something horrible had happened inside that apartment.
You just don't know the full extent of what has occurred, but you're also kind of afraid of what you might find.
Your father was on a mission to try to figure out what happened to his daughter.
He was on a mission and he wasn't going to let it go.
I was living like in two different worlds, I think. One believing that she's alive, another that she's dead.
So this young mother, this soldier is missing. The clock was ticking.
There was a lot of pressure on us.
It had been 3 days since Holly James had disappeared. Police had taken a close look at John Wymonk's former girlfriend, but investigators discovered that she had an alibi for the night Holly went missing and was nowhere near Fayetteville.
What was her demeanor when you were talking to her, investigating?
She was scared that she had been drawn into this mess.
She was ruled out as a suspect in the investigation, but she had provided information that was helpful.
Investigators say the former girlfriend is able to provide them with an inside look at the relationship between John and Holly.
They had been married for approximately a year, but towards the end of this 1-year marriage, it had become rather complicated between them.
Holly's brother, Bo, says the phone calls between John and Holly were becoming increasingly volatile.
He would be on the phone and then he would be just screaming at her.
You're watching him scream and you could hear your sister Holly reacting to that. What was she doing?
Crying, telling him to stop. And I felt like, well, I need to say something, but at the same time I thought, well, this is a married couple. I thought about if somebody tried doing that to me, it might upset me.
As investigators looked deeper into their relationship, they learned from friends close to Holly that John seemed insecure, that he held a lower rank than his wife.
I think it was something of a resentment that she was a woman and she outranked him.
John Wymonk was a corporal?
Yes.
So his level of skills was pretty high end?
I would say it was good. He's still honing his skills and still learning.
Her being an officer, she outranked him, and he would always tell her, "You're not a real officer," things like that, just putting her down.
We had a non-commissioned officer married to an Army second lieutenant. It just doesn't happen. That's the first time in my whole career that I had seen something like that.
According to Holly's friends, it was clear that John's attitude and frequent yelling directed towards his wife and distance between their bases was putting a strain on their relationship.
I didn't talk to you, so I just wanted to send you a quick hi and let you know that everything's okay.
They lived 2.5 hours apart. Eventually their marriage became estranged.
She had put up with the emotional abuse, and I think she finally realized that it wasn't going to get any better.
And as investigators continued to dig, they begin to realize that the alleged abuse may have been more than emotional.
We had done a number of interviews with her friends, some of the ladies that worked with her at Womack. First thing they told us is how violent John had been in the past.
Armed with these insights into Holly and John's marriage, investigators head to Camp Lejeune to talk with him.
This is where the Marines are. They have a lot of questions for Holly's husband, John Wymonk, about where he was and what he did that night.
NCIS agent brought him in from the command, interviewed him just to try and figure out what was going on and what he knew about Holly's whereabouts.
Hey, John, here's my guidebook. Hey, John. How you doing, sir? You sit this hot coffee down, buddy. How you doing? John, Jeff Locklear from Fayetteville.
He expressed that there were concerns for his wife, that he did not know where she was.
I'm at the point where I have no idea what's going on, okay? This is my wife. Right, everybody knows that. That is my apartment. What the is going on with my wife? You know what I mean? That's what we're all trying to find out, man.
After a brief conversation, the agent conducting the interview noticed a smell of alcohol, and that Corporal Wymonk was likely intoxicated or under the influence of alcohol.
I have been drinking. Okay. And I don't want the things that I say to be turned around. I don't want to talk with you now that I can smell the odor of alcohol in you. I don't want to talk to you about legal stuff while that's even a question in my mind. Let's handle all that tomorrow.
So he's free to go. He's not in custody or whatever.
So what did you learn in this investigation here?
It gives me a chance to look him in his eye. It gives me a chance to smell him. There's a difference between regular sweating and stress sweat. You can smell that guy.
Really? So you knew at that point?
Yeah, he ain't telling me everything, right?
In any type of case where we have a missing person, we have suspicious circumstances. I mean, the spouse is obviously a person of interest. NCIS will immediately look at them and trying to establish, are they related or are they unrelated? Either way.
We continue to gather evidence, to interview people, really focus in on John's movements and whereabouts around July 9th.
But as investigators focus their attention on John Wymonk, they are also conducting a canvass of Holly's apartment complex and get a tip that is about to pay off in a big way.
Here was a mysterious person running through the parking lot and getting into a black pickup truck. It gave us something to go on. It was a turning point in the investigation.
As investigators continue their urgent search for any leads linked to Holly's disappearance, they get their first big break in the case at her apartment complex.
We began interviewing neighbors. Did anybody see anything? Did anybody hear anything?
We interviewed one young lady, and she said that the night that apartment was burned, she was outside walking her dog. And she said that she saw a guy running through the shadows. She said he was purposely trying to stay in the shadows, and that he had dark clothing on, and that he was a white male. She did distinctly remember him running out to a truck.
It gave us something to go on.
Investigators talked to anyone involved in Holly's life to find out more details about that truck and who it may have belonged to, including at Camp Lejeune, where she often spent time with her husband.
As the police canvassed and interviewed people at Camp Lejeune, they found out that a young Marine named Kyle had been asking around about borrowing a pickup truck to help a friend move some things, and that was in the time period that Holly had disappeared.
Kyle is in fact Lance Corporal Kyle Alden, and investigators discover the identity of the man who he said he was helping to move. It was none other than Holly's husband, John Wymonk.
This became a very important piece of information, so we wanted to talk to Kyle and see if we could connect the dots.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, sir.
Hey, I'm Locklear.
Alden is brought in for an interview at Camp Lejeune with Detective Jeff Locklear.
This apartment, we got a fire at an apartment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know who owns that apartment? Without me even getting the specifics, go ahead and tell me who owns the apartment in Fayetteville. Who used to live there?
John Wymonk.
John Wymonk. And you know John?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you have all this evidence. You go to interview Alden, so you treat him like your buddy, to be somebody who you want to be nice to.
Never had to raise my voice to him. We're cussing and yelling at him. Weren't accusing him of anything, just going through and stuff, and kind of set the stage for him to begin to let his guard down some.
And you guys get to Fayetteville, and you went and picked up the stuff.
We get to Fayetteville, walked to the back of the apartment building, grabbed the grill, left it over the railing, and put it in the truck.
So you guys didn't go inside his old apartment?
No, sir.
Kyle Alden tells Locklear that he and Wymonk went to Holly's apartment but could not get inside. He then says that they left. He went back home to go sleep with his wife, but it turns out that Locklear had already spoken to Alden's wife.
She says, I don't know what the heck's going on, okay? But not only that, but he's telling me to cover him, okay?
He was lying about large elements of the story.
This is true.
At this point of the interview, Locklear decides to dramatically up the ante with Alden.
For God's sake, son, I need to find this woman. I got to do something for these kids. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help you. That life raft's out there. I need for you to grab it, and I need for you to hold on to it. If you don't get it right now, okay, tomorrow is going to be too late.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, for God's sake, son, tell me. Tell me. Tell me. Now's the time. Yesterday was history.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow's a mystery. Today is what we're dealing with. Today is the day of salvation. You better get on board right now.
Yes, sir.
But he seems to be holding back. We think he knows more than he's telling us.
Did John hurt Holly?
I have no idea.
Do you think John hurt Holly?
Kinda, but I hope not.
I do too. I would love for Holly to call me right now. That ain't gonna happen.
But as Detective Locklear is turning the screws on Kyle Alden, the interview is suddenly interrupted.
And somebody came and knocked on the interview door.
Go outside and talk to the boss a minute.
If somebody's stopping the interview, the building better be on fire. but somebody did.
A 911 call has come in from a forestry service in nearby Onslow County.
Hey, what? Yes, you heard me right.
That could lead to happiness or heartache.
What he specifically said is, are y'all looking for a blonde girl?
It had been 4 days since Lieutenant Holly James had vanished, and at this point, John Wymunk has emerged as the prime suspect in the disappearance of his wife, a fact not lost on his commanding officer, Colonel Kirk Cordova.
The prime suspect was a Marine, and it was one of my Marines.
And given the reputation that he had, did you think at that time that maybe he is somebody that could be guilty of this?
Yes, given his nature and the fact that he's somewhat of a hothead and wanted to be in control all the time. As soon as I heard Wymunk was our prime suspect, I assigned somebody to him and make sure he didn't leave, didn't run, so we knew where he was at all times.
While investigators methodically build their case against Wymunk, Jesse James decides to take a more direct approach, confronting him in person. What did he say exactly to you?
And I drove out to Camp Lejeune, and he was with like 3 friends. I saw some arrogance, saw that he was drinking. I just leaned into him very, very close. And I said, John, if you somehow committed a perfect murder and left no evidence behind and no one but you knows it, there's a sliver of chance that you could get away with it. But I said, if one person knows, you're gonna die for the crime.
What'd you read in his face?
Fear. Fear that all the arrogance was gone. If I'd have had a gun that day, I would have killed him.
I want you to tell me what happened. I gotta find Holly. For God's sakes, where's Holly at?
I do not know.
Okay.
Police continue to try and chip away at Wymonk's fellow Marine, Kyle Alden, but if he knows anything about Holly's disappearance, he's not giving up the goods.
Investigators knew he wasn't telling the truth and that he was hiding something.
He was stonewalling the investigation.
Oh yeah. I was surprised that he could hold out as long as he held out.
So he was in the middle of an interview, and suddenly some information came in that something was found at this field about 15 miles away from Camp Lejeune.
NCIS received a phone call. What we discovered was that the North Carolina Forestry Service had responded to a fire in a wooded area in Sneads Ferry, North Carolina.
So when those guys got to the scene and they go over there, it was pretty clear that there's a body in a shallow grave that looks like someone has tried to burn. They put the call in to the sheriff's office.
We down here on this fire. We need sheriff's department down here for possible burned up body. Did what? Yes, you heard me right.
When they called you, they knew it was a body.
They said, we believe we found a burial site, and this might be the missing female from Fayetteville.
What he specifically said is, are y'all looking for a blonde girl? And obviously, that hit really close to home. It was a sad day in that we knew what had ultimately happened to Holly.
The authorities shifted their focus here to Sneads Ferry, North Carolina. This is about 130 miles away where Holly was living in her apartment, only about 15 miles away from Camp Lejeune.
If you were looking to hide a body, it would be a good place to do it. It's a very remote spot.
We drove out there to the crime scene, to the burial site.
You saw a body there, a burnt body.
I saw human remains rolled up in what appeared to be an air mattress. There was a hatchet in the burn pit with the remains. I saw a number of knives that looked like they came out of a butcher block.
Were those the ones that were also identified that we saw in the pictures inside her apartment that day when it was found out that she was missing?
Right, so those knives that were found with the body matched the style, make, and type that were missing from Holly's apartment.
Best way I could explain it to you is it was an oval-shaped 6-inch hole in the ground, long enough, to place her body.
So she was not buried, she was just laid there for the fire. And then how did they ignite it? How did
Gasoline.
Just poured it all around the area.
Jesse James is at his son's house at Camp Lejeune when a detective from Fayetteville Police calls him with the news.
And of course I said, let's go. I'm going out there, to see the remains. And he said, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should come out there with us. And I said, well, I don't care really what you think at this point. I'm going out where my child's remains were found. And he says, well, let me just try to make it a little clearer. There isn't much to see. He said the body had been burning for days.
I know that when it came to finding her, there was a lot of love poured into it, and that is something that I really appreciate, that people who didn't necessarily know her still felt the need to find her and loved her as deeply as they did.
An autopsy would confirm that the dismembered remains found in the pit were Holly's. The cause of death was a single gunshot wound to the head.
During the initial crime scene process, one of the things that kind of stood out to me was a small hole in the closet door of the master bedroom. I didn't know why, I couldn't explain it. Sure enough, as soon as we cut that door into, a piece of bullet fragment fell out. So my suspicions initially were correct, that it looks like she was laying down on the floor in the bedroom. The round was fired into her head, it exited her head, it hit the concrete floor, ricocheted up, and rested in the closet door.
One of the critical pieces that you need is the physical body of the person that was killed, and we had that now. And so the first thing we wanted to do is go talk to Kyle Alden again and ask him what really happened that day.
But would this tough Marine finally crack?
It's come to Jesus time, all right? But you can't get forgiveness unless you ask for forgiveness. You better get it out right now.
Investigators have finally discovered the remains of Holly Lynn James at a site deep in a pine forest. But Kyle Alden denies knowing anything about what became of her.
Have you guys found her body yet?
I'm gonna be honest with you, we will find her, all right? I promise you that.
As the questioning continues, Detective Locklear decides to see if some psychological persuasion can get Alden to open up.
And then I guess that's the whole crew.
Photos tend to help get people in their feelings, and that's the reason I introduced some photos in the interview.
So now you're showing him the pictures of these two adorable kids.
Mm-hmm. He tried to not look at the photos. Every time I would catch him kind of leading off, not looking at the photos, I said, no, look at her and her kids. And that pressure really worked with him.
Finally, Alden starts revealing details about the day of Holly's disappearance. He tells detectives that John Wymonk called to ask if he could borrow a truck.
I told him I can make a couple phone calls and see if I can get a truck. He's like, okay, I'll meet you in Clinton.
What is this?
Kyle Alden and John Wymonk stopped at a Shell gas station in Clinton, North Carolina, which is about halfway between here and Camp Lejeune.
And then we go into the gas station. He's like, you want something to drink? It's like, okay. And then we go back outside. We talk a little bit. He's like, what's the worst thing you've ever done? He said, the worst thing I've ever done is killed somebody.
What do you think he means by this?
I do not know. I did not want to know.
What else does he say?
He's like, you can't say anything about this, but I need your help doing something.
Okay, and did you ask him what he means?
No.
Are you worried at this point?
I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of hesitant. What could he have done? Why does he not want me to tell anybody?
The dam's beginning to break, right? The information's beginning to come forward.
Alden says they leave the Shell station, and about an hour later, the pair reaches their destination, Holly's apartment in Fayetteville. Here, Alden changes his story, now saying that the two did, in fact, go into the apartment.
You both get out of the truck.
And then we walk down the sidewalk, back over to his apartment. Then I come into the master bedroom, and the carpet's torn out.
I just don't think that he was prepared when he arrived at her apartment for what he saw.
So you guys carried that stuff out to the other truck?
Yes.
What do you do next?
We go back in for the blue bag thing, and then we just pick it up and carry it.
How much did the bag weigh?
Probably about 150 pounds.
What do you think was in the bag?
Thought crossed my mind. It's like, the worst thing he's ever done is killed somebody. We're in his house. There was a blood spot on his wall. There's a blood spot on the bed. There's a blood spot on the floor. What the hell happened? Am I carrying out a body?
He got really nervous talking about what he saw when he first arrived at the apartment. His carotid artery, you can watch that in a person, and when they really get nervous, it's almost like there's a little small green tree frog right in their throat. It's just throbbing.
We drive around for a little bit, and then he says, hey, we need to go to Walmart's.
Then a brazen act is caught on video.
When they got to Walmart and parked, they actually went to the bed of the truck, picked her body up, took it, put it in the cab of the truck, closed the door, locked it, went inside and shopped.
We grabbed 2 jugs of Shell oil.
They pay for the items at the register and head back to the truck.
They then came back out and removed her body from the interior of the truck and put it back in the bed. We retrieved that video. That was a really key piece of evidence for us that they had the callousness to do that.
Alden says the pair then head back towards Camp Lejeune, stopping along the way to pick up Wymonk's car. And then from there, they each drive to a secluded spot.
So what happens?
Then I continue to put the bags in the tote in the trunk, the big bag in the backseat of the car, and then I take off.
Alden says he then continues home, solo, and that was the end of his involvement.
Is there any details that we missed this time?
Not that I can think of right now.
But Detective Locklear has a hunch that Alden has more to tell. Could bringing him back for one more day of questioning finally break the case fully open?
The next day, when I walked back in that interview room, I had my chest poked out and my tail feathers were high because I was armed with information that I didn't have when I first went in there. And I let him know it.
Guess where I just come from? There's soot and dirt on my shoes. Why do you think there's soot and dirt on my shoes?
I have no idea.
I went where Holly's at. You have been lying to me since we met one another, right? But I don't understand why.
Sensing that Alden is still holding back, Detective Jeff Locklear, who happens to be a preacher's son, invokes a higher authority.
It's come to Jesus time, all right? But you can't get forgiveness unless you ask for forgiveness. You better get it out right now. Now you tell me the rest of it. Tell me the rest of it.
Will that appeal get Alden to see the light? Will he finally tell the truth about what really happened to Holly?
I tell him, this stuff is scaring me. I don't know what to do.
In the NCIS building at Camp Lejeune, it's been 3 long days of questioning for Marine Kyle Alden. And it's at this point he finally tells investigators what he claims to know about John Wymonk's involvement in the death of his wife, Holly.
He called me, it was around 6:30. He said that he'd been there all morning and all afternoon. He's like, I killed her. I didn't ask him how he killed her. I just said why.
You have to be careful in situations like this. He's telling me a story, and if I encourage him and it's not correct, you go down the wrong road here.
Told me that she didn't die right away, so he had to hit her again. And I told him I don't want to hear that.
But he still kept telling you, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
What did he say?
He's like, the look in her eye, he'd never seen anything like it, the look in her eye.
Kyle Alden then says he and John Wymonk are not yet done at the apartment.
He told me he had to burn the apartment and he had to let it burn for a really long time because he wanted to try to get rid of all the evidence.
They had devised a plan and made an agreement that they would drive her remains back to the area of Camp Lejeune and find somewhere at that point to bury the remains.
Investigators say they choose a place familiar to Alden. Alden was living not far from here. How far away was he?
As the crow flies, about a half a mile. The reason they picked this area was he was familiar with it because he had been back here doing some target shooting. That's how he even knew that this place existed. I had enough probable cause at that time to charge him with the arson and the conspiracy to commit the arson. That allowed me to arrest him, Alden, and arrest Wymonk and get my hands on him and get him back to Fayetteville.
With both men in custody, the focus now switches back to John Wymonk and what possible motive could he have to kill his wife? Investigators believe the answer to that question lies in what they were told about John's alleged violent treatment of Holly.
The first time we really talked about it is when her and John Wymonk got in the fight, and she showed up at my house. Her hair was a mess. She had scratches and claw marks all over her back.
We came out a couple of weeks on vacation to visit Holly, a couple of weeks before she was murdered, and I met him again once there. I just really didn't have a sense that there was anything until she began talking about a divorce.
Authorities come to learn that Holly filed for a protective order against John Wymonk in May, less than 2 months before she was killed, in which she alleged a chilling encounter with her husband.
We discovered that there had been an incident in the prior months leading up to this where he had threatened suicide and also held a gun to her head.
To her head?
Correct.
Threatening to kill her?
Yes.
The night that Holly left John at the apartment, she was kind of telling me everything that happened, that John had threatened her. He carved her name into a bullet and told her, "This one's for you."
The fact that he was in the military and went as extreme as he did makes it so much worse, because his main priority should have been protecting her. That was his main job, was to protect a mother and a wife, and he couldn't, and he wouldn't do that.
After Holly did not show up for a court hearing on the protective order, the case was dismissed.
You need anything to drink? Glass of water, Steph. You want some water? Fair enough.
Despite the growing amount of evidence against John Wymonk implicating him in Holly's murder, Wymonk still will not talk.
Armed with the information that Kyle had given investigators, they gave John Wymonk an opportunity to come clean and tell what happened. He said he wasn't going to talk with them without an attorney present.
Okay, stand up. Follow me out here.
He was then charged with first-degree murder, second-degree arson, as well as conspiracy to commit second-degree arson.
Corporal John Wymonk is accused of killing his wife, Second Lieutenant Holly Wymonk, a nurse stationed at Fort Bragg.
My client is presumed to be innocent. We don't want this case tried in the media. We want it to be tried in a court of law.
Taking a case to trial, there's always risk involved. In this case, we had very good information from Kyle, and the thought was that Kyle would testify at trial as to what happened, and then we would put all the circumstantial evidence together to point to the fact of what John Wymonk had done that night.
While John Wymonk pleads not guilty to all charges in connection with the arson and his wife's death, Kyle Alden is now cooperating with authorities.
He agrees to take Detective Locklear through the night of Holly's murder at the scene of the crime.
It was very telling to bring him back to the spot. He had never been here before, right before that night. This is only the second time he had ever been here, and he could still remember where he parked.
I parked right there besides the Chrysler.
It was worth taking him back out there and having him tell it from the viewpoint of the guy that was there the night this happened.
From there, you guys went to... we went back out towards Jacksonville Smiths Ferry area.
Did he give an indication of why it is that he did what he did, what Alden did?
The only explanation that I'm aware of is that Wymunk, being another Marine, asked him for help, and he agreed.
You're a Marine, would you do that?
Absolutely not.
After he confessed, Kyle Alden was charged, and he ultimately pleaded guilty.
Kyle Alden was sentenced to approximately 5 years in prison.
And at a hearing for John Wymunk, Holly's brother Bo sees the man he once called a friend, now accused of killing his sister.
So we stood up when Wymunk came in, and he didn't even look. He didn't turn around.
Ultimately, in 2010, John Wymunk pled guilty to first-degree murder.
John Wymunk is sentenced to life in prison for arson, conspiracy to commit arson, and Holly's murder.
The district attorney called me and he said, I have Wymunk here. His parents have convinced him to take a plea of life without parole. I said, you just take the plea and send him to prison, so that's what they did.
Did you hope there was a death penalty?
I personally wanted it, yeah. It's a different opinion than my dad's.
With John Wymunk now behind bars, Jesse James still has questions.
Did you expect he would write back to you?
Will this father finally get answers from his daughter's killer?
She was honored in many ways.
It was a lavish funeral, and I did it on purpose because Holly was a big personality. The police in the community from several communities came, and the Patriot Guard. It looked like a state funeral.
Dignitary.
Dignitary, yeah. And that's what I wanted for Holly.
What was it like then to be at a funeral like that?
It's heartbreaking. And I just uncontrollably cried. It was awful. It was just in so many ways.
You put them together. The man that you introduced to your sister ultimately killed her.
Right. It's part of what haunts me for a long part of my life, absolutely.
But that's looking back. Nobody can ever predict something that they already learned.
But once you go through something, it's really hard to take it away. Pretending it didn't happen is hard, but coming to terms with it is even harder.
Sometimes I think every time I take a step here, maybe I'm taking a step in a place she has stepped. And that gives me a sense of presence.
Here in the hallway of Womack Army Medical Center, where Holly once worked, her memory stands eternal, a silent testament to a life that will not be forgotten.
What does that say down there?
In memory of 2nd Lieutenant Holly James, for her joy, her service, and her support of mothers and babies.
Well, she was loved.
Yes, she was.
The pain of losing a daughter never fades, and neither do the unanswered questions.
So after all these years, you still want to know more?
Yeah, I'd like to know more.
Recently, Jesse made the difficult decision to reach out to John Wymunk, the man who murdered his daughter, through an online prisoner website.
John, both my son Jesse and I carry no anger toward you, but only grief for the loss of Holly. The level of grief we carry leaves no room for you. To my surprise, I did receive a response to my letter. The response goes like this: thank you for reaching out to me. You are entitled to answers to which I will give them to you as best I can. I hope this will provide some closure for all parties involved.
Did you expect he would write back to you?
I thought he would. It took a long time, and the return letter went into the things like, you know, yeah, we need to talk.
But rather than taking responsibility, Monk outlines a process centered on his own terms and not on the needs of Jesse.
Even in that letter that he wrote, there's no apology. He does not care about what he did. He only cares about what's happening to him.
You are now communicating with the man who murdered your daughter. If you were to talk to him in person, would that be something that would be somewhat helpful to you?
I think being in the same room would have a negative impact on me. John, I can assure you that I have no interest in engaging in restorative justice or any sense of closure with you. How could you possibly restore 17 years of life without Holly? I've fought to live a life of joy because I didn't want to be a victim of John Wymuck too.
So you've never been there?
Never been there.
Would you want to go there?
At this point, I think I would like to do that.
Years after his daughter was discovered here, Jesse James visits the sacred, hallowed ground for the first time. Not just to face where Holly's body was abandoned, but to honor her memory.
Not only for myself, but you know, I'd like to represent my family and her friends that did not get to see her again.
What do you think about now?
I think that I miss my protector. She was always the big sister.
Today, those who loved Holly keep her memory alive, remembering her as the devoted mother and dedicated soldier she always strived to be.
What would you like the world to remember about Holly?
I think she should be remembered for trying to give so much. My sister loved protecting the people she cared about.
Got the same smile too, right there. I want people to remember her as a really good mother with the time she had.
I am very proud of who she was. A patriot is someone who goes above and beyond, and that's what she did. Like, no matter what.
Isn't she sweet?
She put everything above herself. And I don't think there's anything more patriotic than that.
A large tornado looks like it is going to have almost a direct hit here on Mayfield.
This is a confirmed tornado on the ground. The small Kentucky town of Mayfield, population of about 10,000, reduced to rubble.
Just sounded like a freight train. It is scary.
You can see this trailer just completely flipped over.
Their downtown devastated. The courthouse, the clock tower ripped off.
Much like that tornado which left so many victims, this story has had a long-lasting impact on Mayfield, Kentucky. It involves an unspeakable crime, a father who was a firefighter, and nearly a dozen suspects. The investigation ripped through this tight-knit community, fueling rumors and leaving so many unanswered questions about what exactly happened to 18-year-old Jessica Curran.
This is our fire truck here. This is a picture of the crew. This is all the captains.
You were a captain at this fire station?
Yes.
For how long?
Captain. Well, I made captain 3 years before I retired.
Did you always want to be a firefighter?
No, I really never dreamed of being a firefighter.
No.
No, I didn't.
How did it turn out this way?
Well, I was just needing a job at a time when it was hard to find one. And I ended up being a firefighter, which is something I really love because I like helping people. I used to walk from school just down the street here, and I used to cut across here, where the fire department is.
Little did you know.
Little did I know someday I would be in there. My name is Joe Curran, and Jessica Curran was my daughter. I have 4 kids. Jessica is the second one.
Joe, how would you describe your daughter, Jessica?
She was outgoing, and she was very thoughtful, friendly, passionate. She was really a person that you would want for a friend.
My name is Venetia Stubblefield. Jessica was my cousin. She was a sweet girl. She really was. She was an awesome friend. She was somebody you could sit down, laugh, talk to about any and everything, because she kept to herself. She was a beautiful girl.
Jessica Curran.
Yes.
How did you get to know her?
She was friends with a few of my cousins. Her family owned like a fishing pond. We used to go fishing there. And she was a very nice person. She was very, very helpful. She was very friendly.
She had a baby.
That's Zion.
This is Zion.
Yes, that's Zion. Jessica was 18 when she had the baby. She was a good mother. She'd check on him, she'd keep him, she'd hold him, she'd play with him, and she didn't really like to leave him much.
Being that was her first child, she adored that baby. She really did.
After she got pregnant, she decided she wanted to move out all at once. And me and her brother helped her move in to the Plaza Apartments. And all I wanted was her to go back to school, and she had did that. She was finishing up her GED.
I was a GED instructor, and Jessica was one of my students. She was a fun-loving child.
And then on July 29th, 2000, she vanishes.
Yes. I got off work that night. My wife had already talked, and she had told me that I'd go by and pick up Zion. And when I went by Jessica's apartment, she was talking with her friends, and they told me that they most likely would go over to Venetia and her friend's house and play some cards. She got me the baby, and I put him in the car and brought him on home.
We were just sitting there playing spades and listening to music, and that's it, and having a couple of drinks, because it was just like a basically ladies' night.
So take me back to July 29th. Was Jessica in a good mood that night?
Yes,
Happy?
she was. Yeah, she was actually happy. She was happy that she got to get out for a little bit and enjoy the weather, enjoy sunlight, and get some air and take a break, because she had been at home with her kid. Always had her little earrings in her ears, little rings on her finger, necklaces and bracelets.
What time did she decide to head out, to leave the get-together?
Probably about 1:30-ish, almost 2. I tried to get her a ride home, even offered to help walk her home. And she was like, no, I'm fine, I got it. Trust me. She was like, trust me, because I got it.
It would be 3 or 4 miles. It was on the opposite side of town. That's where the Plaza Apartments were. At least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, I would say.
We stood right here and watched her walk until we didn't see her walking no more, and she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
Jessica decides to head out on foot. According to Venetia, Jessica says goodbye to her friends right around here and then heads off into the darkness.
It's really crazy to me that she decided to make this walk. It's a really scary walk.
And that's when we became very nervous.
You knew something was wrong.
And that was it, and that's the last time I saw her.
Truth is a whole lie. And if there's a place that breathes life into that proverb, it's the town of Mayfield in Graves County, Kentucky.
You had to come to this town. Why did you have to physically be here in Mayfield?
Anytime you come to a location, it helps you understand the scene better.
Well-known podcaster Maggie Freeling dug into the Jessica Curran case. What did you wind up getting?
Well, what I think we got was the lengths we go to get justice.
Her reporting culminated in the new installment of the Bone Valley Podcast, Season 3, Graves County.
This is Graves County, Chapter 1. My name is Maggie Freeling. I'm a Pulitzer-winning journalist and producer who has spent years reporting on the criminal legal system. That's how I first heard about this case.
Coming to a place like this is so important to gather information, especially in a small town where everyone's talking.
Mayfield, Kentucky.
Yes.
What is that place like?
It's a very small town. It's pretty much like everybody knows everybody.
I'm Tina Schlosser, and I taught at Mayfield Middle School. Mayfield is a nice place to live. I raised 3 boys there. The people all seem to be friendly.
Mayfield to me was like, although it's small and country-ish, it reminded me of like a little city.
I was born and raised in Mayfield. One thing that my family was kind of big on, be careful who you party with and hang with because you never know what they'll do to you.
There wasn't a lot of crime or anything like that. We knew that there were some kind of call themselves gangsters, little guys that, tried to sell drugs and stuff like that, and they got in trouble.
Mayfield, Kentucky is in the area where the KKK is based out of in Kentucky. And so there is a bit of segregation, I guess, that took place in that city.
Did you face discrimination growing up?
I would have to tell you the truth, yes. I had some of the teachers said that they didn't really want me in their class. It's just how it was back in those days.
Sunday, July 30th. It's the morning after Jessica had gone to that card game with her friends, and her parents stopped by her apartment.
We went by to pick her up to go to church that Sunday morning. We knocked on the door, we didn't get any answer, so we went to church. And then after we got out of church, we kind of went back to her house and started asking some of the people around the neighborhood if they had seen her. And of course, none of them said that they had seen her.
You knew something was wrong.
My wife had already said it because she hadn't called, but she normally called and checked on Zion. And I told her she's a young lady, 18. She just moved out like a week before.
That's where she had an apartment, huh?
Yeah.
What happens when her parents come here that day?
Jessica's not here. They instantly were worried. Not normal for her.
She would never leave her son.
She would never leave her son. She was in love with her son, Zion.
Jessica had just moved to her apartment and had plans to go to college, so things were looking up for her. But the streets had been talking about her new baby boy. What was the talk around town about her baby?
That it belonged to a guy by the name of Jeremy Adams.
Jeremy Adams is the father of Jessica Curran's son.
I knew Jeremy. We weren't friends, but we knew each other. So he would get off a vibe, and his vibe just never was a good vibe to me, so I never hung around him.
He was always nice. He was a sweet person, you know what I'm saying? But it's like certain people that he hung with, it's what gave him a bad name and a bad reputation.
There was no relationship between Jessica and Jeremy Adams, just kind of a one-time kind of thing, and he didn't want to see her anymore. She didn't want to see him anymore. She had another boyfriend, and that was Lolo Saxton, and he seems to be a pretty good guy and, pretty thoughtful.
Sheena and Joe went up at my mom's house asking about Jessica.
We didn't really know what to do, so we decided we'd check around to see what we could find out.
Jessica's family searches for 2 days, and then there's news of a startling discovery behind the middle school.
On August the 1st, 2000, school hadn't officially started. We had planted some plants out back, and I wanted to check on them. And so I was walking out back, and when I opened the door, I saw this shoe laying on the ground, and it was a sandal, and it looked like somebody had just walked out of it or ran out of it. And I looked to my left, and there was a body laying there. And I was, it was just floored me to no end. The body had been burned. I mean, it was a horrible sight to see.
And then you hear that a body has been found.
Yes, a body was found. And then that's when we became very nervous. We went on straight to the police department. They hadn't completely or exactly identified her yet. And then they showed some of the jewelry that she had on, and most of it was my wife. It was a total shock. I mean, we never dreamed that it would be her.
It was like in shock, like, are you serious? And it was like, wow, we just dropped our cups and just fell to the ground and just cried.
I can only imagine what it must be like to process your daughter being gone.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's hard. It's especially hard on my wife. It's something that stays deep in your soul.
Jessica Curran gets murdered. How did you find out?
It was the talk of the town.
A teacher found a burned body behind Mayfield Middle School. They say it looks like a homicide.
It's scary that somebody could dump a body almost in your front door.
Somebody get killed and burned up, definitely a big deal.
I was shocked, I was angry, and it hurt.
All agencies are working basically around the clock.
My thought was, who could have killed her?
Police start hearing about rumors ripping through Mayfield.
So far, police say there are no motives and no suspects.
It was like the crucible. I mean, everyone was out for everyone.
Pulling up to...
This looks like the police station.
Wow, this is the police station?
This is the police station.
Like a small little house. Podcaster Maggie Freeling and I drove through Mayfield, Kentucky, following the alleged path of the crime.
Her apartment was right back here. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
The last building right there.
On the left? And she had just moved in.
She had just moved in. She had barely spent any time there.
Police video documents the day Jessica Curran's body was discovered in that schoolyard. In a place where children play, murder investigators are now at work.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here. They do know the body had already started decomposing and there were signs of a struggle.
Jessica's sandals are there, and her ripped underwear, untouched by fire, apparently removed before she was burned. Her dress is above her waist.
The middle school is about a 20-minute walk from where Venetia Stubblefield says she and Jessica said goodbye. It's a long way from her home at Mayfield Plaza Apartments.
It's the middle school. And we are going right
over there.
So Mayfield Middle School, huh?
This is the Mayfield Middle School.
Yeah.
And back in 2000, none of this was here. So it was just this building. So right back here, and we're gonna walk up to this gate, there was a little garden area. And she was found right between there.
Did police initially believe she was killed here?
Initially, this is what they believed was the crime scene. It seems like someone was trying to run. Her sandal was found a little farther away from her body.
It's been approximately 2 years since we've had our last homicide here in Mayfield.
The Kentucky State Police and the state medical examiner are all called in to help work the case. A Mayfield patrolman, already tapped to make detective, is promoted on the spot.
The day that they found her body is the day I was made a detective.
Rookie detective Tim Fortner is appointed lead investigator, and with the help of more experienced detectives, he will run the case.
Because I was still in the uniform, they said go home and put your, get you some khakis and a white shirt. And so they sent me home to do that.
He came to the house and told me and my wife that he had absolutely no experience and he didn't know what he was doing. And he don't know why they put him on the case, but he was on the case and he was trying to do it.
On the day that he assigned you to the Jessica Curran murder investigation, did you feel like you were qualified to handle that investigation?
Absolutely not.
There was some physical evidence. There was a belt that came into play later in the case that was found.
The braided belt also, that was kind of burnt a little bit, so.
It was kind of really, really crazy for us to find out that she had been beaten, strangled, and then set on fire. That shows a lot of extreme hate.
The autopsy report notes Jessica suffered blunt head trauma, and based on the braided belt found next to her body, strangulation.
There was an issue about, in particular, a dress that Jessica had on at the time of her body being found.
One of the garments that she was wearing was just basically thrown away.
And I remember holding it up at the time of the autopsy, asking somebody, I'm not sure who was present at the autopsy, do you want this article of clothing? And the answer was no.
Mayfield police acknowledged that Jessica's dress was not preserved.
It was just, it doesn't make sense. It was just really not good.
2 days earlier, soon after authorities believed Jessica Curran was killed, a deputy sheriff encountered a man named Quincy Cross just outside Mayfield.
And asked him, what the problem was. He stated he'd run out of gas.
The deputy noted that Quincy kept pulling up his pants because he didn't have a belt on.
He had a pair of dark pants on with no belt.
There was a belt that was found near Jessica's body. That belt is used to kill Jessica.
He was holding a gas can, attempting to try to, said he spilled some gas on his pants. They could see a little residue on the car.
The accelerant that was used to burn Jessica's body was gasoline also.
The deputy gives Quincy a ride to a nearby home on Chris Drive, where Quincy had been partying earlier.
He ultimately was found in possession of cocaine. He was arrested.
Quincy Cross is in the county jail on drug charges when Jessica's burned body is discovered.
Collect call from Quincy Cross.
All these years later, I spoke to Quincy on the phone. Do you remember being questioned about Jessica's murder in 2000?
Yeah, but it didn't really bother me, you know what I'm saying? To hear somebody asking me questions, I kept telling them I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know nothing about none of that.
Quincy Cross says he's no killer, with little evidence to prove him wrong. Detectives turn to Jessica's cousin, Venetia, and a startling allegation. Is the person who says she last saw Jessica walking off alone, keeping secrets about her death.
I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
The investigation into the murder of Jessica Curran, who was found dead behind the Mayfield, Kentucky Middle School, graduates to high school when administrators alert police that 2 students may have information.
When the situation happened with Jessica, Victoria went back and lied on me to the school's resource police officer.
17-year-old Venetia Stubblefield and 15-year-old Victoria Caldwell, 2 schoolmates who will be at the center of this case for the next 25 years.
So how would you describe what you've been through?
I would describe it as being very traumatic and not easygoing at all, and very hard.
What was going on?
There was a lot of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental. It was just a lot.
That traumatized teenager is then caught up in a murder case. When they discovered Jessica's body, you were interviewed by investigators.
Yes.
12:47 p.m. Thursday, the 7th day of September. I'm at the Mayfield High School in the conference room outside the principal's office. Present is myself, Detective Tim Fortner, and also Victoria Caldwell.
Detectives pull Victoria out of class for an interview.
Somebody had given me some information that possibly that you might have ever heard a conversation between somebody about the murder or homicide, whatever you want to call it, of Jessica Curran.
She tells them that before the murder, she overheard Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica's baby, talking to Jessica's boyfriend, Carlos Saxton, nicknamed Lolo.
Okay, what were they saying? Do you remember?
All I know is that was Jeremy said, payback's the B word.
Payback's a bitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, we're gonna get her good.
But what Victoria says next is more astonishing. She says Venetia, the cousin who had said Jessica walked off alone that night, was now saying Jessica was taken for a ride by Jeremy Adams.
She went and told them that I approached her and told her that I know something about a girl's body being behind the school and about a girl being killed.
No, she was walking that way, and Venetia and Jeremy and some other people that were in the car, I think it was like 2 more people that was in the car. I guess they put her in the car or something, and I guess Jessica was trying to fight with them. And Venetia told them to stop the car and let me out because I don't want nothing to do with it. And that's all she said.
That's when we get a knock at the door, and Mom's like, see what it is at the door? I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
Venetia tells detectives Victoria is lying. Victoria tells police that you said you were in a white car with Jeremy Adams that night. Is that true?
No, sir, it was not.
Why would she lie?
Because that's the typical person that she was, and that's the type of person the type of stuff that she did to her friends.
6 months after the murder, a grand jury indicts Jeremy Adams and Carlos Saxton. Adams is charged with murder, Saxton with complicity to commit murder. Both pled not guilty, denying any involvement in Jessica's death.
Saxton and Adams, do you think the police did a good job of investigating them?
I don't know. I was hoping that they did.
The case relied largely on 2 inmates who police say told them Adams had confessed and implicated Saxton. A trial is set for Adams, with Saxton's trial to follow. But between crime and punishment, it all falls apart.
The murder trial of Jeremy Adams was supposed to start this week, but Judge John Dawday dropped the charges.
The police and prosecutors do not hand over at least 18 tapes of interviews to the defense. So the case winds up being dismissed. The charges against Jeremy and Lolo are dropped.
The case is in shambles. So is the police department. The chief and assistant chief have left the force for unrelated reasons. Mayfield hands over the case to the Kentucky State Police.
This case is not going to be forgotten about by the family and friends of Jessica Curran, and I can assure you this case is not going to be forgotten about by the Kentucky State Police.
Victoria moves to California.
Detective Sam State with Kentucky State Police.
Venetia is questioned repeatedly by state police detectives.
We are here today to offer you full immunity. Okay, you can tell me today that you killed her, okay, and you're immune. I'm not here to charge you with anything. I will not charge you with anything, okay?
Every time she insists she had nothing to do with the death of Jessica Curran.
The night that she was murdered, that night after she left us, that was it. I didn't see her no more. So whatever statements y'all got saying that I did, well, you're wrong. Because I did not see her no more that night. I had stuck with my story from the beginning when they first questioned me. I never skipped a beat. I never switched it up. I've never changed anything out of my story.
But you're telling us right now that you were not there.
If y'all give me a Bible right now, I put my right hand on the God on that Bible and let y'all know that I was not there. Bring me the Bible, Booty. My right hand on this Bible, I was never in that car, and I never was around. There you go.
Jessica may not be here today in body, but she is definitely here in spirit.
Now an unofficial investigator emerges, a cape-wearing crusader.
Susan Galbraith is one of those people who's kind of pushy and kind of just really knows everyone from around town. Again, it's a small town. She knows people. She knows law enforcement.
The day Jessica's body was found, Susan Galbraith, who's not a police officer, was right there at the crime scene.
That's when Susan says her curiosity turned into an obsession. If the cops weren't going to crack the case, she would.
I am 99% sure that I know exactly what happened the night that Jessie died, okay? I know who killed her.
The self-appointed detective interrogates Venetia.
People that I've talked to are saying that you were at the scene. To be honest with you, Sue, that I had no part in none of this. I deny.
Still ahead, the citizen detective claims there's a witness willing to come forward, but in fear for their life.
She messages saying she has information, but she's scared to talk and she doesn't know who she should talk to.
She was afraid that she was going to be hurt, injured, or killed.
The Mayfield Police Department had the case for 3 years and didn't solve it. Then the state police had the case for about 3 years.
It's now 6 years after Jessica Curran's murder, and Victoria Caldwell resurfaces.
The first lead the Mayfield police received was from Victoria.
Victoria indicated to the police that they should look at Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica Curran's son, and also Carlos Saxton, who is her boyfriend at the time.
Remember, charges were dropped against both men. Now living in California, Victoria reaches out to the state police and says her sister Rosie has passed on an alleged threat to Victoria's life.
She just started yelling, like, I told you they were going to kill you.
She was yelling at you that she told you they were going to kill you?
Yeah.
That who was going to kill you?
Quincy.
Quincy Cross, the man who was arrested reeking of gasoline just hours after Jessica vanished. Police then speak to Rosie about that alleged death threat.
Quincy directly said to you what?
That he wanted to kill my sister.
Okay. And did he tell you why?
Due to that case, because she was running her mouth.
Has Quincy or anybody else directly told you that they were involved in the murder of Jessica Curran?
Just Quincy. Quincy had told me he was involved in the murder. I have been there when they're discussing the murder and stuff like that, him and Tamara.
My name is Tamara Caldwell. Rosie and Victoria were my first cousins. We never talked to each other, really. I just didn't hang out with them.
Has Tamara ever told you that Quincy was involved in this murder?
Quincy never asked me or talked to me about anything about dealing with Jessica Curran's murder. He never did.
Tamara Caldwell, your relationship with her?
That's my cousin. We really never really got along, just because our moms really butted heads a lot.
Tamara had dated Quincy back in the day.
Yeah, I thought Quincy was cute. We got along great. My kids loved him. They still love him.
How odd would it be for you to call Tamara? Can you get her to talking about Quincy?
Yeah, I could probably get her talking about Quincy.
That same day, at the request of the state police, Rosie calls her cousin Tamara on the phone.
Because you know the cops are hot on Quincy.
Okay.
Did you know he was involved in that murder?
Yep.
Okay, because I didn't know. Somebody said that they was going to try to kill Victoria, so. I don't know.
Tamara doesn't acknowledge any threat against Victoria, and today she says she doesn't even remember the call.
I do not recall that conversation that Rosie had with me. No, I don't.
The state police continue following leads and interviewing people. Then, 3 months later, they speak to Quincy Cross.
Who do you think killed Jessica?
I don't know. I didn't know her.
Detectives hone in on that morning after Jessica disappeared, when Quincy says he left that party on Chris Drive, ran out of gasoline, spilled some on himself, and encountered a deputy on the road.
He smelled gas on me. You know what I'm saying? He gonna put that on the paper, a strong odor of gasoline. Like I done.
What's gasoline got on your coat got anything to do with anything?
Hold on, she was burnt up for one. They might have led them to believe I had something to do with this.
Detectives also tell Quincy they believe his belt was used to kill Jessica Curran.
And I can tell you your belt's around her neck.
Oh well, I ain't do with it.
Your belt permit. It's there, dude.
Hey, I don't believe it's mine.
I'm telling you.
You come up and saying, yeah, it's your okay. If it's mine, convict me.
After the interview, Quincy is free to leave. The state police continue investigating, and so does Susan Galbraith.
The gas, the belt, and his demeanor the night Jessica went missing. These three things made citizen investigator Susan Galbraith hone in on Quincy. She just needed to figure out how, why, and with whom.
Quincy came from out of town to this party at Chris Drive. So when Susan Galbraith starts her own citizen investigation, she finds that at this party at Chris Drive, there were two white boys, one of which turns out to be Jeff Burton.
They were saying that I was seen at a party. A lot of times people have like little house parties and stuff. And I'm a teenager, so I'm liable to pop in and pop out. You know, who knows?
So Susan decides she's gonna make a MySpace. MySpace is the before Facebook.
It was a social media platform that people used to communicate and meet each other on. If anybody had any information, she was trying to collect it to turn that over to the police.
The police had not spoken with Jeffrey Burton when Susan Galbraith posed his name, among others, in what she labeled as a person of interest list on that MySpace page. She would describe that list later in court.
I didn't say they did it. It was just, I just had person of interest, but it didn't say they did anything. I could have been interested in what kind of shoes they wear.
A friend of mine had called me and he's like, you might want to get on MySpace. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, this makes no sense. So I'm kind of freaking out, and I call my mom and call my uncle.
When Susan Galbraith lists on MySpace that your nephew, Jeffrey Burton, is a key person of interest, what goes through your mind?
I couldn't believe it. This don't make sense at all. These aren't people that I hung around, nothing like that at all.
A new story about what happened to Jessica emerges.
He hit her with the bat in her head. She was unconscious.
Involving a surprising number of new suspects.
They try to make it like I was the one that struck the match and I threw it on her.
I kept telling them, I don't know anything.
This was the beginning of the end for me.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing? So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
A friend of mine had called me. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, this makes no sense.
I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky.
You want to go charged with murder? Well, now you tell me which way you want to go with it. I didn't do nothing. Well, you tell us. I didn't do nothing. We know what happened.
No, you think you know what happened.
He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
There's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
And you told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes.
Victoria's story has now changed.
How much of what you testified under oath was true?
None of it was true.
Zero.
tornado ripped through this town and destroyed Mayfield. What it did to people was so similar to the tornado of Jessica's death that came into this town.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here.
I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. Very spooky.
So she walks off into the darkness, and that's the last you hear of her.
Yes, she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
So many people were embroiled in this.
They had dropped the case on the two main guys. We got a case here that's went for years and nobody had done anything. And we wanted to see, something done.
With seemingly little movement in the case, the Curran family organizes marches, and the story makes headlines.
But Reverend Sharpton's National Action Network plans to make Jessica Curran's murder a national concern.
Around that same time, Susan Galbraith had started working with the state police.
We know exactly who killed Jessica Curran. There's a lot of people that are feeling comfortable right now because they think they've got away with it, but they haven't.
What do you think of Susan Galbraith? Just down this street is Mayfield Middle School, where Jessica's body was found 3 days after she was last seen. And just up this street, Susan Galbraith, that citizen sleuth, found a house she strongly believed was connected to Jessica's murder. It was the home of Jeff Burton.
In the year 2000, I was 20 years old. I just had a little daughter that February. A lot of the time I spent smoking, drinking, just being young, probably kind of wild a little bit.
So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house. This is where it used to be, and it has since been demolished.
Why did Susan Galbraith want to come here?
Susan kind of homed in on Jeff. She saw that there were 2 white boys at this party, and that's how she got Jeff's name. And from there, she realized his house, how close it is to the middle school.
In fact, she wrote about it in an email.
She did. As I walked around the house, I saw a garage. It was so eerie, felt as though time stood still. I crept over to the door and was overwhelmed with a feeling of dread. I didn't go in for fear of tainting the scene. I was so excited, I knew I had finally found where they had Jessica.
Susan would share her impressions of the visit with investigators from a third agency that's now leading the investigation.
I had gotten in touch with the Attorney General, and he said, I'm going to put somebody on that case. And then he sent down the KBI.
The Kentucky Bureau of Investigations was the law enforcement arm of the Kentucky Attorney General's office. The 2 investigators were Lee Wise and Robert O'Neill.
I was at the AG. My main function was in the drug unit. I was brought into the case mainly because of my ability to do investigations. And part of it was that the director, David James, felt like that Afro-American black person would probably have better inroads into getting people to come forth and talk.
These agents had not worked homicide cases, and these 2 agents are now working this homicide.
The one person that was instrumental in ultimately helping out on the case, Susan Galbraith, who was just a lady that was in the community that kind of took the weight of this case, and she really wanted to see something done on it. She was on the internet, and ultimately she got in contact with Victoria.
Susan was convinced Victoria was the key to cracking the case.
What were your interactions like with Susan Galbraith?
She would text me on MySpace and try to communicate with me.
Asking things like what?
About Jessica Curran, or if I really knew anything.
Victoria read one of her messages to Susan in a BBC radio program reporting on the case.
I am afraid for my life. I'm sorry about what happened. I will help the police as much as I can, but I really don't know who to trust.
You ultimately decide to talk to the KBI,
yes,
to come forward with them.
I told them a different story.
This interview is being conducted at the Radisson Inn, Santa Maria, California.
Victoria turned out to be Susan's missing puzzle piece. She would not only point the finger at Quincy, but at many others, including her own family.
Quincy and Tamara and this white guy had pulled up to my house.
You said you remembered his first name.
Yeah, it
What was
was
that?
Jeffrey. And my cousin had asked me if I wanted to take a ride with them. And I was like, yeah. We got right back to the same area of the middle school area. They picked up Venetia.
And then, Victoria says, they go pick up Jessica.
Jessica gets into the car. She got up front, in the middle, and
In the middle of who?
in the middle of Quincy and Tamara. As we were driving, I remember Quincy was rubbing on one side of her leg, and Tamara was rubbing on the other side, and she kept pushing their hands away. So I remember Quincy got mad. When we got to the white guy's house, they had pulled Jessica to get out the car with them, kind of like forcing her. And they go inside, and then they go into this bedroom. And I heard yelling and screaming, so I was wondering what the hell was going on. And so I opened the door, and that's when I had seen Tamara holding Jessica down and Quincy over her with the belt around her neck. I touched her neck, and I told him that she was dead. I think Quincy lifted the head, and the white guy lifted the feet, and I believe Tamara put the blanket up under her to wrap her body in it. And after they wrapped her, they took her out of the house, put her in the back of the car. And we all got into the car, and Quincy stops to get gas. He got a cup, and he put the gas in the cup. And he gets back in the car, and that's when we ended up back at the middle school. I remember they had laid the body down. Quincy threw the gas on her. Venetia threw the match.
And what happens after that?
The dominoes start falling.
Y'all killed her, right?
You want to go charged with murder?
Do nothing. I didn't do nothing.
No, that's lies, man. That's
Bill.
Today's date is February the 25th. We're in the city of Mayfield, Kentucky. Present in the vehicle is Victoria Caldwell.
A few days after, Victoria tells the KBI how she says Jessica was murdered. Agents take her back to Mayfield, to the alleged crime scene.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
But all that's left there is a concrete slab, and no evidence is found.
This would be where Jeff Burton resided.
The crime scene went from the middle school. This is now the crime scene.
The day after that ride-along, Victoria is taken to the Attorney General's office where she provides a videotaped statement.
We're conducting a videotaped interview of Victoria Caldwell.
We stopped at the white guy's house.
Had you ever been to that house before?
Yes.
What were you doing over at his house?
My sister used to mess with me.
Which one?
Rosie.
Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she says her sister Rosie was seeing Jeffrey at one point.
Then, Victoria gives authorities a different version of what she says happens in the car and how Jessica is taken inside the house.
Quincy. He hit her with a bat in her head.
A bat? What kind of bat?
Like a little bat.
Where'd he hit her?
Back here.
What'd she do?
She went unconscious.
Huh?
She went unconscious.
In one of the versions of the story, Jessica is hit in the car with what looks like a souvenir baseball bat. She is unconscious and carried inside.
Victoria adds that Jessica was not only killed, but she says multiple people, including herself, also sexually assaulted her.
It's also questionable whether she was dead or not when sexual activities were happening, what exactly happened when and who did what.
Finally, Victoria alleges a shocking motive that points the finger at the former assistant chief of the Mayfield Police Department, Ronnie Lear.
Quincy was talking on his cell phone.
Who was he talking to?
Ronnie. Lear. She just kept saying it's taken care of. That's all I remember Quincy said, it's taken care of.
I want to know why Jessica Curran was murdered that night. Do you know?
She was gonna tell Ronnie's wife that we're sleeping together.
Lear tells the KBI what he'd earlier told the state police, that he simply did not know Jessica.
I never knew who the girl was, never seen her before in my life. I mean, they showed me a picture, I didn't have a clue who Jessica Curran was.
Lear also adds he didn't know Cross and actually considered him the #1 suspect.
We looked at Ronnie Lear, but as far as him being active in the murder, we had no information as related to that.
We took all the evidence we had, put it all together, and we sat down with the Special Prosecutions Unit at the Attorney General's office. That's how it all came together as we were ready to go forward with the indictments. So we started bringing people in and talking to them.
Just 30 minutes north of Mayfield is the Drury Inn and Suites in Paducah, Kentucky. This low-key hotel's conference room becomes ground zero for intense questioning by the KBI, the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation. Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky again. Of course, it brings back one of the worst days of my life.
It affects you even now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Why?
Well, just because, I mean, this was the beginning of the end for me, so to speak.
Today is Friday, March 23rd. We're here conducting an interview with Jeffrey Burton.
Jeffrey's house was the location where they brought Jessica Curran's body. That's where bad things happened to her.
Same people are going to stand across from you and point at you and say, "It's his house." You can look as confused.
It's more concern.
That's not concern. That's fear.
If that's the case, you might as well take me to jail now, because I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
I'm freaking out, you know what I mean? I'm really on the inside, freaking out.
I know I didn't rape anybody and nobody was murdered around me anytime. Let me tell you something, Jack. Anytime.
Remember, Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she'd been there with her sister Rosie. Jeffrey
tried to deny it, that he knew Rosie or that he knew Victoria.
Step right up here, Rosie. You ever seen this gentleman before?
She was already there, so we thought we'd just bring her in.
We never had sex, what he's saying, and I never called
And we never went together.
No. Hey, come on now, that's a lie.
So I didn't even know her. So to have her in front of me, and she's kind of looking at them and then looking back at me.
When was the last time that you were contacted by Jeff Burton?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. 2 months ago?
Go and take me to jail.
So I'm just like, man, if you're gonna take me to jail, just take me to jail. You know what I mean? I was just over it.
The truth is gonna come out. What's done in the dark, ultimately is gonna come to the light.
That's it.
And then you're arrested.
Just stand up. You're under arrest for murder and just...
You got to go.
What was it like to be let out of that hotel room in handcuffs?
Just surreal, like I couldn't believe it was happening. It felt like a nightmare. It was like, there's no way this is real. There's no way. But it was real.
Jeffrey is arrested for multiple charges, including murder, kidnapping, and rape, and is carted off passing Tamara Caldwell as she enters the room.
It was draining.
You said I didn't do nothing. But
I
you
didn't
lied.
do nothing.
Yes, you did.
And now Quincy Cross is in the hot seat.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know him. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
Man, look, you figured it out. That's for you. You investigated. You figured it out.
I was down in the cruiser for like hours. The first time I went up to the room, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
The detectives questioned Tamara Caldwell about knowing Jeffrey Burton.
Tamara, did you know the guy who just walked out of here? You ever seen him before?
Please.
The one that was just in this chair? No, I don't. I promise. I don't know. No, I don't know nothing.
You wasn't with him at night? Jessica was murdered?
No, I was not.
I didn't hang out with Jeffrey Burton. I knew him from school. That's it.
Those interviews were brutal.
It was draining because I kept telling him, I don't know anything. Leave me alone. I don't know anything.
You want to go charged with murder, or you want to just be charged with being there and sexually molesting that girl? Now you tell me which way you want to go with it.
I didn't do nothing.
Well, you tell us.
I didn't do nothing.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
You
Y'all,
said
I
I
promise.
didn't do nothing. But
I
you
didn't
lied.
do nothing.
Yes, you did.
I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about it. I was at home when this happened.
The detectives hammer home that they believe Tamara and Quincy were the ringleaders of this crime.
Q murdered Jessica. It's up to you whether you go to jail on the charge that you can get out on, or whether you go on murder. But you go. So we're giving you the opportunity.
You the captain, right along with Quincy.
I don't know nothing about this. All I know is I met him in jail.
How could I have had anything to do with it? And this happened in 2000. I didn't know Quincy Cross until 2002. So how could I have anything to do with it, period? How did I get brought into this, period?
Tamara says she and Quincy parted ways in 2005.
You know, with them being charged together, obviously they want to make as much distance between themselves as they can.
Both Tamara and Quincy are being charged with murder, kidnapping, and rape. At the time, Quincy was 30 years old, born and raised in Tennessee and from a big family. He'd been in trouble before with the law.
Quincy Cross was involved in narcotics and drugs. That's verified. He's known as a drug dealer.
We come from a close-knit family. Quincy is my protective big brother. He was fun, he was definitely outspoken, but he also was nurturing.
He didn't meet many strangers because he was funny. He was a jokester.
We're here to conduct this interview with Quincy Cross, who is currently present with us.
We interviewed him for probably 2 hours.
We know what happened.
No, you think you know what
We know
happened.
what happened. Okay. All right. We might have missed the point. We might have missed the point here and there, but we know what happened.
If you know, what am I for then?
We're giving you a chance to come clean.
Ain't no need to come clean when you already know.
We're giving you a chance to have peace with
Well,
yourself.
this is what peace is. I don't want to have it. Because I ain't got nothing to do with it.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know him. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
You investigated. You figured.
I have to ask you, did you kill Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica Curran, or have anything to do with killing Jessica Curran, or knew anybody that killed Jessica Curran.
Did you rape Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica. I did not rape Jessica. I didn't even know Jessica. Let's get that in line. I never knew Jessica.
Were you involved in any way with Jessica's murder?
No, I was not. Anyway, no kind of way.
Were you in the car with Venetia the night Jessica was murdered?
I didn't even know Venetia.
Yet according to the KBI, Venetia is just one of several eyewitnesses who places Quincy at the center of this case.
The story that we got from Victoria and the story that we got from Venetia was consistent in a lot of areas.
Venetia, what was happening?
They was scuffling and shit.
What was stuff?
Quincy and Jessica.
Who took it?
Quincy.
And who?
Tamara.
What's your birthday?
He was walking in the house behind me on Victoria.
Venetia, she was another hard interview because she was very emotional.
I have ADHD.
Guilty. Venetia and Victoria will testify against the others.
Being locked up behind bars, it took like a big toll on me.
Despite their repeated denials and a lack of forensic evidence, Quincy, Jeffrey, and Tamara head to trial, their lives in the balance, and a wrench thrown into the case. The weapon, prosecutors say, was buried in a backyard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
The motive for Jessica Kern's murder is still unclear at this time. The connection between the 3 people arrested for her murder has not been confirmed either.
They were gonna try me, Quincy, and Tamara together, and then they separated it to where they did Quincy by itself.
Hundreds of potential jurors showed up today. Quincy Omar Cross sat in court with his attorneys. The Kern family prayed before the trial began.
The trial is moved from Graves County to Hickman County because of all of the media attention and how big this case was.
The Jessica Kern murder trial began early this morning here in Clinton, Kentucky, which allowed the prosecution to get right into laying their case against Quincy Omar Cross.
Jessica Kern was sexually assaulted and brutally murdered by the defendant, and I will ask you to find the defendant, Quincy Omar Cross, guilty.
Over the course of the next week, in a trial captured on sometimes grainy VHS tape, the prosecution calls more than 30 witnesses, starting with Jessica's family.
You recognize that as Jessica's shoe?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, these are hers.
People who were at the Chris Drive party testify about seeing Quincy wave his belt around and talk about wanting to go find girls.
I remember he swinging and he's singing that night.
Quincy's defense points out that many people wore a similar belt.
A common belt.
Yes, sir.
Common belt back then.
Yes, sir, I suppose.
Other witnesses testify that Quincy Cross told them he was involved in Jessica's death.
And he's like, well, you told on me for killing that girl.
She overheard something that she wasn't supposed to hear, and we had to take care of that. We kind of brushed him off because we thought he's always talking big.
He said, I, which is Quincy Cross, killed Jessica Kern. And he said, if y'all say anything, that I'm gonna do you the same way I did her.
Quincy Cross would just kind of sit there in the courtroom like he wasn't really worried about it. And he wasn't scared or nothing. He's just relaxed.
Jessica's cousin, Venetia, who initially said Jessica had walked home, now testifies that she, Quincy, and others went to Jeffrey's house that night.
Jessica went in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
How did she get in the house?
He made her walk in there.
Venetia says that Quincy led Jessica inside and killed her.
Who killed Jessica Kern?
Quincy Cross.
How did he do that?
When I seen him, he was standing over with a belt in his hand around her neck.
But the star witness for the prosecution is Victoria Caldwell, who has been at the center of the case since the beginning.
Doris Victoria Caldwell.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was very nervous.
Victoria testifies over several days, saying that after they picked up Jessica, Quincy knocked Jessica unconscious in the car in the driveway of Jeffrey Burton's home.
I moved it out of the car. Quincy and carried Jessica's body to the side, the side door.
You told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes. She just kept pulling and pulling and pulling on it. You could hear her gasping for air.
It was hard for me to believe that they could have been that cold and callous.
Then, Victoria changes her story, now saying Quincy Cross struck Jessica twice. once with a bat, the second time with a ratchet wrench.
That's the tool that was used. It's a long tool, and in the middle has like a little knob that makes that clicking noise.
Law enforcement officers say they find the object buried in Victoria's sister's yard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
Because I'm the one who buried it.
Nobody mentioned the clicking ratchet until after it was found. They were always saying metal bat until the ratchet was found. Then all of a sudden, 2 days later, is the first mention of a metal ratchet with clicking sound. Isn't that amazing?
There are glaring inconsistencies in Victoria and Venetia's statements. Like, Venetia cannot confidently say if Quincy, Jeff, or Tamara struck Jessica with any object.
When we look at the totality of this case, we have independent corroboration. Talking to Victoria is consistent with the important areas of what Venetia said.
We're going to mainly look at the credibility of Victoria and Venetia. And there's no way they both can be telling the truth. They both admitted that they lied to the Commonwealth all the way up to the very end.
The defense strategy was to question the credibility of everything, from the circumstantial evidence to the prosecution's witness testimony.
You always told the case.
No.
You told the police that Jessica was murdered because she was going to tell Ronnie Lear's wife that he was sleeping with her, right?
I guess.
That was a lie too, was it not?
Yes.
There is no physical evidence that connects Quincy to Jessica, to that crime scene at the middle school.
When I spoke to Quincy on the phone, I asked him about Jessica's murder. Why would Victoria and Venetia point the finger at you?
Okay, I never knew Victoria. I never knew Venetia at the time, so I knew it was lying anyway.
The verdict is next, and what happens to those co-defendants?
They're gonna do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
And what those witnesses at the trial told me about their testimony. You're now saying that what you testified to in court was a lie.
On the day that the verdict came, I remember being outside with some family.
We thought on a capital murder case it would take a while, but it took very little time.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder under instruction number 7.
The jury deliberated only 3 hours and came back with a guilty verdict.
My whole family was devastated.
How is this real? Like, is this actually happening?
What went through your mind when you heard the word guilty?
Let me see, it was heartbreaking to be that person for one, and for the world to see that of me, and for the people that believe that. Oh man, that took me down to a dark place right there.
I was glad to see somebody, get punishment for it. I told them I didn't want to have a death penalty. I could do life without the possibility of parole, but I wouldn't do a death penalty.
After Quincy was convicted, everyone else who was going up for trial was terrified.
Well, certainly we were concerned after that guilty verdict.
At first I'm ready, gung-ho ready, and now I'm just like, they're gonna do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
I was like, they're gonna kill me now. What is going on? They convict him, they definitely gonna convict us.
Jeffrey and Tamara took plea deals for the lesser charge of manslaughter and the abuse of a corpse.
Jeff and Tamara both took what is called an Alford plea, and it's basically saying, I'm telling you I didn't do this, but I'm acknowledging that the state has enough evidence to convict me.
And I didn't know that they look at it as a guilty plea. But I'm scared that's what they done to Quincy over a lie. So I'm like, man, they're gonna do the same thing to me. So I did like 7 years.
I took the Alford plea because my public defender said that I wouldn't get much time. I got 15 years, but I served 5 years, 8 months, and 2 days.
It was awful. I had to quit my job to take care of my daughter's kids. They ask for Mama every day.
So when Jeff took that plea, he agreed to be a convicted felon.
Everything kind of fell apart after that.
The unthinkable thing happens to you, and then, people that don't know you think you're a murderer, you killed somebody.
Jeffrey's oldest daughter, Shyla, was just 7 years old when he went to prison. This is you visiting him in prison?
That's probably right after it happened. I was about, I would say 8 or 9 in that one, and still just trying to enjoy the moments.
Did anybody tell you why he was there?
No one told me specifically what had happened, but over the years I heard stuff, figured stuff out, and as I've gotten older, I totally get it. He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
Did you ever wonder, maybe my dad did do this?
Never.
Never?
No.
Why not?
Because that's my dad. I know him, and he wouldn't hurt a fly.
For years, Quincy tried appealing his conviction to no avail, but he's now gained an army of advocates.
It's a very strong, supportive group of people who will not take no for an answer.
I just believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. My goal is to get Quincy Cross out.
He doesn't have a piece of evidence that links him toward anything.
But I know in my heart that he's innocent because there's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
Quincy's supporters have worked to garner attention for his cause.
It was very exciting for me to be told that there was a podcast that was going to be done.
There is a new 6-part podcast, Bone Valley Season 3, Graves County, which explores the Jessica Curran case.
This is Graves County, Chapter 6, Something Rotten.
Now, more than 2 decades after the murder of Jessica Curran, the Kentucky Innocence Project has taken on Quincy's case.
There were a lot of markers of potential wrongful conviction. We believe we have the evidence to exonerate him and walk him out of prison. So that's our goal.
The Kentucky Innocence Project had their work cut out for them. It's very hard to get a conviction overturned in the state of Kentucky, or in most of the country, really. One of the many hurdles is that Quincy's attorneys have to present new evidence that points to his innocence.
They have filed a motion to vacate his conviction that includes new claims about those key witnesses at the trial.
Venetia Stubblefield and Victoria Caldwell in particular have said that they lied at the trial.
You're now saying that that story, that what you testified to in court, was a lie.
Yes, I didn't know nothing of that case. I didn't even know nothing about the murder even
So
being
why
took
did you
place.
say that?
Because I was forced to say it. That's the thing.
What did you say at the trial?
I was forced to say that Quincy Cross took part in it. I was forced to say that Jeffrey Burton and Tamara Caldwell had part in it, knowing that they didn't.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing?
No, not at all.
How much of what you testified under oath was true and how much was not?
None of it was true.
Zero.
Zero. Nothing was true. I don't know nothing about this case. I wasn't there. I don't know all the people.
You testified about disturbing sexual acts involving Jessica's body. Did those take place?
No, not at all. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know anything at all.
But if it never happened, why provide such graphic detail?
Because they told me what to say.
In response to the motion, the state denies that witnesses were pressured to fabricate their stories or told what to say. They also point to this affidavit from 2016, where Victoria refutes that she lied at trial or was told to say something that wasn't true.
We never tried to get anybody to say anything that was not true.
Well, there is this thing called evidence. Justice and juries, and they weighed all the evidence, and Quincy's in prison. There's only been one conspiracy, and that's a conspiracy to kill Jessica Curran and to try to get away with it.
The state stands by Quincy's conviction. It argues that Victoria and Venetia's many lies to investigators were brought up at the trial and that a jury still convicted him. Why should we believe you now after all the lies you told?
I feel like I should believe because
People who really know me know that I'm a genuine person. I would never put innocent people away. I would never do it.
Has anyone paid you or pressured you?
No, not
You're
at all.
doing this because...
I'm tired, and I think it's time for the truth to come out.
What would you say to them?
I would apologize to them, and I would tell them how sorry I am for them to get convicted.
But truly and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that each and every one of y'all can forgive me.
Can you forgive them?
Most definitely, I can forgive them. I already forgave them.
Now, it all comes down to this. A court date just hours ago for a hearing that may lead to a new trial for Quincy.
And I have an interest in the truth coming out.
All right, KIP file room. I think it's probably in one of these working files. Yep, here's the KBI investigation. We are preparing to present all of the new evidence, the mountain of new evidence, all of the different pieces that we have uncovered since trial that is new, that we believe a jury should have heard. It's different, right?
It all comes down to this hearing in this makeshift courthouse.
It's a big deal, and for a long time we didn't have no voice.
The Innocence Project making their case for Quincy to get a new trial. This could be your last chance.
Hey, it's all right. Sometimes we deal cards that we got to play, you know. But I know that I've done no wrong.
I am anxious. I am hoping for the best.
There is a lot on the line today. It just potentially could free us, so to speak.
All rise.
Multiple witnesses and co-defendants gave perjured testimony that they have now recanted. And the now recanted statement is the only evidence that ever linked Mr. Cross to this crime.
I would just refer the court to the case law that recanted testimony after trial is viewed with distrust.
I know I'm going to have an evidentiary hearing. I'm going to focus only on the recantations of Venetia Stubblefield, Victoria Caldwell.
A major victory for Quincy and his supporters.
They did it for my brother, y'all.
We are very pleased with the judge's decision. We look forward to being able to put on the evidence in support of Quincy's innocence at the hearing.
Witnesses like Venetia and Victoria will be heard in person to tell their stories to the court. Also, what happened in the courtroom is the judge said, you know, if they get back up on the stand and say we lied, that's perjury. So that's a huge consideration for them.
And just outside the court, Jeff Burton on his knees, pleading with Venetia.
I'm begging. I've been doing this before, and I'm so sorry that you had this.
And Venetia said, you know, they've ruined my life too. I will do the right thing.
I always said that through all of this, something good's got to come out of it.
You know each other?
Yes, sir. We know each other. How you doing?
Quincy's dad has an unlikely ally joining him in this fight.
This is very unusual. The father of the victim and the father of the man convicted of killing her joining forces, trying to get answers.
Everybody thinks that this is an odd couple. We're not an odd couple because we want the same thing. He wants justice for his daughter. I want justice for my son.
I just don't think he could do the stuff that was done.
Tragedy brought you together.
Tragedy brought us together, and it's gonna keep us together until we get what we need, justice. I can't say I feel his pain, but I know he feels my pain, and I feel some of his pain.
Do I think that Joe can find some comfort in knowing he helped Quincy? I think is the most that he can get.
We've suffered through it long time. And we just don't feel like we have a completion.
Justice for Jessica would be finding the real people that murdered her. Sometimes I do believe she's guiding me. I do believe that she wants me to stay on the case all the way to the end, till the truth comes out. My promise to her is I won't never stop. I don't quit.